Hello and welcome to the UMB softball field for a non-conference doubleheader between the Bridgewater State University Bears and the UMass Boston Beacons. My name is Seth Orensky. I'll have all the action for you for today's contest between a pair of Massachusetts State schools who were playing for the 17th and 18th times all time. The Beacons hold a 9-7 lead all-time. As we take a look at the all-time series, the Beacons have had the advantage as of late. 5 consecutive wins dating back to 2014, including a doubleheader sweep a season ago in which the Beacons earned wins of 15-1 and 8-3. UMass Boston scoring at least 5 runs in 3 separate innings, including a 5-run top of the 7th inning in game number 2 in that 8-3 victory. During the last 5 wins, the Beacons have outscored the Bears 44-12, including posting 2 shutout wins and 2 mercy rule victories as well. Looking at these two sides as of late, we already showed you the records. The Beacons at 4-10, Bridgewater State at 6-8. Not exactly where these two programs want to be. The Beacons coming off a 30-win season and their first ever NCAA tournament trip. Bridgewater State, their worst season in program history, but when I say worst, still wasn't that bad. 15-20, a winning percentage of .482, just percentage points behind the 2011 season in which they went 18-23, their previous worst record. This is a program who in 35 seasons has finished above 532 times. They've made the NCAA tournament nearly 25 times overall. Looking at first thing on 3 things to know. Beacon softball team posted back-to-back walk-off comeback victories over Castleton University on Thursday. The Beacons had just 3 walk-offs in the past 2 seasons. They walked off last year in the NCAA Regionals on a Roxanne Vento 2-run homer. And then 2 seasons ago, it was Lauren Mitziaris, a junior on that team, who walked off against Emmanuel and UMass Dartmouth. On Thursday, it was Kira Pressmack and Tori DeCenso, each picking up walk-off RBI singles. And finally, the Beacons head coach Natalia Ardagna, a Bridgewater State alum. She won 104 career games over 4 seasons at Bridgewater State. Was actually part of the first ever losing season. They went 18-20 her junior year. But she's in her 11th season at UMass Boston, looking for wins number 170 and 171 at UMass Boston. Overall, she's got 185 career wins, as she also spent a year at Simmons before joining the Beacons. Take a look at our player to watch. It's probably the hottest player on this Beacons roster, Kelly Danahy. 5 of 6 the other day against Castleton with 2 runs, an RBI, and a pair of doubles. She leads the Beacons with their .405 batting average, is also second on the team in slugging and on base percentage. The Silver Lake Regional High School product had a very successful high school career, made it to the state finals as a sophomore. She'll actually face off against one of her former collegiate or former high school teammates, as Alexander Ruprecht, a fellow Kingston, Mass native, will be in the starting lineup for the Bears. So a pair of Silver Lake players in this one. Right now we'll bring you the starting lineups for these two sides. First, for the visiting Bears, Samantha Mulcahy, the team's leading hitter, player who transferred from Dean College, where she hit .524 as a freshman. Mulcahy actually not their leading hitter, third best at .380 with a .436 on base percentage, .500 slugging percentage. Mackenzie Holt, who's the team's number 2 pitcher, is also the DP here in game number 1. Holt, a junior out of Gilroy, California, transfer from Gavilan College, making her 12th appearance as a hitter, hitting .231 on the season. Alexander Ruprecht, already mentioned her, the Silver Lake product, hitting in the 3-hole and playing right field. On the season, she's hitting .294 with 8 RBI. Shannon Grindle, she's got the pop in this lineup. The sophomore first baseman out of Halifax, Massachusetts, a second-team all-conference honoree as a freshman, hitting .439. She's got 3 homers, 4 doubles, and 13 RBI in the season. Madison Synan, the catcher, will hit 5th. The freshman out of Quincy, Massachusetts, hitting .231 on the season, 6 for 26 with 4 runs scored. Megan Navarro will hit 6th and play second base. Navarro, a sophomore out of Taunton, Mass, an Eastern Connecticut State transfer, team out of the Little East Conference in which UMass Boston plays in. She's hitting .243 on the season. Courtney Banzi will hit 7th and play left field. Banzi a senior out of Plymouth, Massachusetts, attended Plymouth North High School. She is 1 for 11 on the season, making her 9th appearance of the year. Courtney Gavea will hit 8th and play 3rd. Gavea, a junior out of Taunton, Massachusetts, attended Coyle and Cassidy High School. She's hitting .350, tied for the team lead with her 12 runs scored and 4 RBI. Finally, Casey Carvalho. Carvalho will be out there in center field. The junior outfielder out of Fairhaven, Mass. is actually the team's top hitter. Two-time MASCAC first-team player will hit out of the 9-hole. A little bit of a surprise. She's riding a 9-game hitting streak on the season, hitting .457, tops on the team. She also has 16 hits, 12 runs, a double, and 7 RBI. She'll face off against Jess Greenspan, and we'll give you her numbers after the playing of our national anthem. Really quickly, we'll bring you through the Beacons' defensive lineup before we get to Jessica Greenspan, the Beacons ace, who will get the start in game number 1. UMass Boston will have Kira Pressmack in left field, Taylor Paulina in center, Giovanna Benias out in right field. Around the infield, Ari Bellata, Gigi Braga, Kelly Danahy, and Cassidy Gaeta with Roxanne Vento. Behind the dish, the Beacons looking for their 3rd consecutive victory. That would be a season high. UMass Boston sits at 4-10. They had lost 8 in a row going into their Castleton doubleheader, but pair of comeback victories. They trailed 5-1 in game number 1, came back to earn a 6-5 victory. In game 2, they trailed 3-0 through 3.5, tied the game in the bottom of the 4th, and then walked off on a Kira Pressmack slap single through the left side. Beacons' only other 2 wins came earlier on in the season down in Florida when they earned a pair of victories against Gordon and Becker. Bring you right now the numbers on Jess Greenspan. Greenspan, the sophomore out of Rocky Hill, Connecticut, reigning Little East Conference Pitcher of the Year, first pitcher in program history to have earned that honor. On this season, she's 2-5 with 7 complete games, a 2.51 ERA, easily the best on the team. 47 1/3 innings, 21 strikeouts versus 16 walks. Has allowed 62 hits, 34 runs versus just 17 earned. The Beacons defense has struggled this year, a .924 fielding percentage, something they desperately want to improve over the coming weeks. She's allowed 2 home runs, has gone at least 6 innings in all but 1 start, and allowed 3 earned or fewer in 6 of her 7 starts, and has gotten better as the season's gone along. Against Babson, a lot of tough luck thanks to her defense. She went 4 innings and an 8-0 loss, 7 hits, 8 runs versus just 2 earned and 2 strikeouts. Much better on Thursday, 7 innings pitched, 9 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, and a season-high 7 strikeouts versus 2 walks. Had a really successful doubleheader a season ago against Bridgewater State, as did all of the Beacons, but she pitched every inning in that one. Went 2-0 in 12 innings pitched, allowed 10 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned, struck out 4, and did not issue a walk. She'll face off against Samantha Mulcahy, leadoff hitter and shortstop. Takes it just a bit outside. And we're underway for today's doubleheader. That one is just outside at 11:59. So great job by David Wahlberg, the Beacons Sports Information Director and Public Address Announcer, to get us underway even a little bit early on what is a sunny but still brisk late March Saturday. Temperatures are actually supposed to get warmer and warmer as today's doubleheader goes along, with that pitch being taken on the inside half 1 and 2. Right now, weather in Boston, it's 49, feels like 45. It's supposed to get up to about a high of 55 around the 5 o'clock hour. 1-2 offering, swung on and missed, and it's an early strikeout swinging for Jessica Greenspan. That'll bring up Mackenzie Holt, the left-handed hitter and pitcher out of Gilroy, California, in the DP spot here for game number 1. Attended Christopher High School before going on to play at Gavilan College, a JUCO in California. 6 of 26 on the season, hitting .231 with 3 runs scored, make it 7 of 26. Hits it past the third baseman, Bellotta, and into left field for a 1-out single. 1 on, 1 out for Alexandra Ruprecht. Ruprecht, the freshman, listed as a middle infielder. Today she's out there in right field out of Kingston, Mass. Stands at 5'3", making her 15th start of the season in 15 games. Takes the pitch on the outside corner for strike 1 with the breaking ball. She's 15 of 51, leads the team in at-bats, hitting .291. 4 runs, a team best 6 doubles. Third on the team with her 8 RBI. She had 4 RBI the other day against Rhode Island College. That ball will be in fair territory. Vento tried to apply the tag and bobbled it, and it gets away. And that one should go down as an error on the Beacons catcher. As Vento, instead of just picking up and throwing down to first, tried to make the slightly harder play by applying the tag. And there's now 2 on with 1 out, as Vento, who did not make an error as a sophomore, picks up her second error of the season. 2 on with no outs for the biggest hitter in this lineup, Shannon Grindle. Grindle takes a fastball on the knees on the outside half for strike 1. Grindle's numbers are staggering. Hitting .439, second on the team. A .540 on base percentage leads the team. Slugging at .756. Also tops on the team. 18 of 41 with 6 runs, 4 doubles. Team best 3 home runs. It's also second with 13 RBI and has walked 9 times versus just 3 strikeouts. 1-1 hit hard but foul down the right field line, and it's 1-2. In her last 4 games since returning to New England, she's 5 for 16 with a pair of doubles and 2 RBI. She had a huge game against Carthage College back in early March. Bridgewater stayed a very early spring break trip, so they played a lot of games in Florida early, and she's got a double, if not more, here. That ball is over the fence, and it's a 3-run shot for Grindle. A line drive over the right center field fence, and the Beacons find themselves in an early 3-0 hole, just 4 batters in. Grindle lined a pitch on the outside half over the right center field fence. That ball got out of here about as fast as I can ever remember a home run here at the UMB softball field. Didn't have much hype behind it, but just high enough to clear the right center field fence, which stands just about 6 foot high out there behind the Beacons outfielders. Home run number 4 on the year for Grindle. That's exactly the kind of start the Bears were looking for. Brings up Madison Sinan. Sinan, the freshman out of Quincy, Mass, stands at 5'7". Pops this one up. Chance for Vento, but it's going to go over the backstop and out of play. Sinan started the first 4 games of the season. Did not play in the next 6, and then has started the last 4, in which she's gone 4 for 16 with 3 runs and a pair of walks. On the season, hitting 6 of 26, .231 with 4 runs, 5 strikeouts, and 3 total walks. Fouls off another pitch as the count sits at 1-2. Tough start for Greenspan, who's given up a single off the glove of her third baseman. Then an error committed by Vento on a 3-run homer. She and the Beacons trail 3-0. Rise ball, nice job by Sinan to hold off. Sinan to be followed by Megan Navarro, the second baseman, and if it gets that far, Courtney Banzi, the left fielder in the 7 hole. Bridgewater still has not played a home game. They played all their Florida games in the first week of March, flared out to right. Bonilla coming in, and she'll take it on a bounce. It's a one-out single, and 4 consecutive batters have reached after the leadoff strikeout by Greenspan.
Second baseman, number 14, Megan Navarro.
Bridgewater played 10 games down in Florida from the 3rd of March to the 8th of March. Then they were off until the 27th. Nearly 3 full weeks. They traveled to Rhode Island College on Tuesday, earned a 9-2 win in Game 1, an 11-7, 11-inning victory in Game 2. Just off the corner, 1-1 here to Megan Navarro. On Friday, they were the home team at Salem State University. So they traveled to Salem, but they hit second. They lost the first game 12-7 in their conference opener. Bridgewater State, a member of the Massachusetts State Collegiate Athletic Conference. The Beacons, member of the Little East Conference. And then in Game 2, Bridgewater managed to earn a 6-2 victory to move to 1-1 in conference play. Count is 2-1, and that ball is popped up, but will get out once again. So Navarro, even in the count at 2-2. For the sophomore second baseman out of Taunton, Mass. She played in 18 games as a freshman at Eastern Connecticut State. Went 3 for 29 with 6 runs and an RBI. Breaking ball hit softly down the first baseline, and Navarro has another chance. This season, in 13 prior games, 10 starts. 9 for 37, hitting .243. 5 runs, a double, and 5 RBI. She's hit safely in 5 of her last 6 contests. Breaking ball swung on and missed. Greenspan has 2 strikeouts, sandwiched around 4 base runners. There's now 2 outs with the runner on first base for Courtney Banzi. Banzi, senior out of Plymouth, Massachusetts, not too far from Bridgewater, Mass. On the South Shore. In her first 2 seasons at Bridgewater, appeared in just 28 games, making 24 starts, but has seen more time as a senior. She's way out ahead, and the count runs to 1-1. In 8 prior appearances this year, including 4 starts, 1 for 11 with an RBI. She came on as a pinch hitter yesterday to break a streak of 5 consecutive DNPs. She looks to pick up her 2nd hit of the season and her 13th career hit as a Bear. Count at 2-1 with 2 down. The big hit in the inning is Shannon Grindle, 3-run line drive homer. Taps it off the edge of the bat. Just able to stay with that pitch enough, and the count runs to 2-2. Just 2 of the runs thus far have been earned. Greenspan has given up a pair of singles, an error that proved to be costly, and then the 3-run homer from Grindle. Taps softly back to Greenspan. She fields and throws over to first, but not before a 3-run line drive homer from Grindle gives the Bears a 3-0 lead here in the top of the first inning. So we've got a substitution early on for the Bears. The flex and the DP have switched positions, so it will be Holt, who we saw in the DP spot, also pitching as well. Junior lefty out of Gilroy, California, who attended the same junior college as Jeff Garcia, former NFL quarterback, making her 7th start in the circle, 10th total appearance, 1-5 with a 5.97 ERA. The flex was Daenerys Underhill, the team's 3rd pitcher, who was not pitched recently, so we were a bit surprised to see her name in the starting lineup, but she will not pitch at least to start. She faces off against Ari Bellata, quickly 2-1 of the Beacons leadoff hitter. Looking at the numbers for Holt, 1-5 with a 5.97 ERA, 36 1/3 innings pitched, 15 strikeouts versus 33 walks. 33 walks in 36 innings. So clearly control has been an issue as Bellata swings and fouls it back over the backstop. 58 hits versus 37 runs and 31 earned. Opponents hitting .363 against her. She's pitched in each of the last 3 games and 6 of the team's past 7. Pitcher who won't necessarily go 5 or 6 innings, but will go at least 2 every time out as Bellata hits it hard, but a great stop by the third baseman Gavea. The throw is in time, and Ari Bellata is retired for the first out of the bottom of the first inning. A nice diving play by Courtney Gavea to retire her counterpart, the Beacons third baseman Ari Bellata. Looking at Holt recently, yesterday in Game 1, she got the start, went 2 innings, 5 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned, struck out 2 and walked 3 as the team fell 12-7. Kelly Danahy, the Beacons second baseman, steps up and takes a first pitch strike, 0-1. In game number 2 in relief, she had a much better outing, 4 innings pitched, 7 hits, 1 run, 1 earned. Picked up the victory while walking 3. 0-1 to Danahy, the Beacons' top hitter statistically, now 1-1 as the rise ball is a little bit too high. Danahy making her 15th start in 15 games, hitting .405 with a .463 on base percentage and a slugging percentage just above .680. Takes that pitch high and inside, 2-1. Danahy leads the team with their 15 hits and 37 at-bats, 3 runs, 4 doubles, a triple, and has a team best 21 total bases. Not too bad for a true freshman. 2-1 offering to Danahy, popped up on the left side, going over is the shortstop Mulcahy, and she makes the play in foul territory. So a quick 2 outs for UMass Boston here against Holt. Not the kind of first inning they were looking for against the Bridgewater State team who came in with a 6-8 record. And it'll bring up Roxanne Vento, who has held the title of the Beacons' top hitter in each of the past 2 seasons. Junior catcher out of Arlington, Mass. Was the first ever Beacon to be named the LEC Player of the Year a season ago. Vento hits it hard, but off of Holt, who can't find it. Now she picks it up and throws and gets Vento. So Holt took a hard comebacker right at her. See if she's okay. She's grimacing a bit, but able to find the ball and throw out Vento at first. A 1-2-3 inning for UMass Boston after they gave up 3 in the top of the first. We head to the second inning. UMass Boston will face off against 8-9-1 in the Bears order. Top of the second, Bridgewater State looking to add to their lead, already 3-0. Courtney Gavea, the third baseman, who made a diving stop
Number 1.
Against the first hitter for the Beacons in the bottom of the first. Will lead off, followed by Casey Carvalho, the team's top statistical hitter. And then the top of the order in Samantha Mulcahy. First pitch is a breaking ball strike from Greenspan to Gavea. Gavea, junior out of Taunton, Mass, is red hot right now. She's had 2 hits in each of her last 4 games. Takes that one off the body as it came close to hitting the bat. It's going to be a hit by pitch. So a leadoff base runner for the first time for Bridgewater State, and Gavea is aboard for Casey Carvalho. Carvalho, junior outfielder out of Fairhaven, Mass, 2-time first-team all-conference player. Throughout her career, she's hit .468 as a freshman, .386 as a sophomore, and .457, a team high here as a junior. Shows bunt, puts it down. It's going to be fielded by Danahy. She doesn't have a play. Casey Carvalho can just flat out run. She is as fast as any visitor we've seen thus far. That wasn't all that impressive as a bunt, although the Beacons did not communicate well. But either way, Carvalho was going to be in there safely, and there's 2 on with no outs for the top of the order in Samantha Mulcahy.
The shortstop, number 28, Samantha Mulcahy.
Mulcahy struck out swinging to lead off for the Bears. Shows butt, can't catch up to the rise ball. And they're going to say that she pulled it back 1-0. 2 on, no outs. The Bears already holding on to a 2-0 lead. UMass Boston had to come back in both games on Thursday against Castleton University, and now they're going to have to do more of the same here if they can hope to pull off a 3rd consecutive victory. That one was just a bit outside as Mulcahy is trying to give herself up, trying to put 2 runners in scoring position, but she's going to expect a strike here from Greenspan as the fastball catches the corner, and it's 2-1. Gavea over at second base. She was hit by a pitch. Carvalho, who has tremendous speed, is over at first base after the bunt single. Bunt is popped up. Coming in is Gita and makes the play in foul territory. A huge first out for the Beacons as Mulcahy not able to do the job. She's 0 for 2, and it'll bring Mackenzie Holt to the plate. The pitcher
number 7,
and
Mackenzie Holt.
Flex player now. Holt singled off the glove of Ari Bellata over at third base and came in to score on Shannon Grindle's 3-run homer back in the first. Takes the first pitch, a fastball on the outside corner for strike 1. Holt to be followed by Alexander Ruprecht, who reached on a swinging bunt. And then if it gets that far, Grindle will hit that 3-run homer. 1 down, 2 on. Ball popped out to short center. Coming in is Paulina and making the diving play about a foot off the infield dirt. Beacons were not playing Holt to really hit the ball deep, and it works out in their favor. That ball likely would have fallen if not for their defensive positioning. And there's 2 down now, 2 big outs as Alexander Ruprecht steps up. Now, Ruprecht's not an easy out. Remember, she does have 6 doubles. Hits it over to Braga. Braga will go to first, and the Beacons work around a pair of leadoff base runners to keep the score at 3-0. Great pitching from Jess Greenspan, and it leaves Shannon Grindle, the team's top power hitter, in the leadoff spot for the 3rd inning as UMass Boston will look to get the bats going against Mackenzie Holt. Dave, I'm listening to you. Before we get to the bottom of the second, let's take a look ahead for UMass Boston in what is now a 12-game homestand that was certainly not scheduled. The Beacons originally were supposed to be at Babson. They were supposed to play these two games against Bridgewater State about 2 weeks ago, but postponed due to unplayable field conditions. Beacons have already played their 5th and 6th games here on their home field. They'll play against Salve Regina, an NCAA tournament team from a year ago on Tuesday, then host Framingham State, another NCAA tournament team also out of the MASCAC on Thursday, and then host Plymouth State next Saturday before finally leaving the confines of the UMB softball field. They'll travel about 2.5 miles to take on Emmanuel College. So it's a stretch where the Beacons will not have to leave the confines of the city of Boston. Cassidy Gaeta takes a pitch just a little bit low off the outside corner, 1-0. Gaeta, the Beacons' cleanup hitter and first baseman out of North Reading, Mass. 4-time All-League player at North Reading High School. Takes a pitch a little bit higher this time with the fastball, 1-1. Really trying to stay away from the inside pitches on Gaeta. Gaeta hitting .211 on the season, making her 15th start, 8 for 38. Does have a home run and 6 RBI. 1-1 offering. That one is pretty much in the same spot, maybe an inch or two farther off the plate. 2-1. Gaeta has yet to see a pitch that she really could do anything with. Had a nice day on Thursday against Castleton, 2 for 8 with a pair of RBI, although she did strike out 3 times. Gaeta sees that one off the glove of the catcher Simon, and again, Gaeta has seen 4 pitches. None of them have really been close to her power alley. Gaeta has struggled with the strikeouts as of late. 7 strikeouts in her last 5 games, at least 1 in every game. Gaeta hits that one hard, but it's caught by the first baseman. A great effort by Grindle to go down with the glove. UMass Boston has hit the ball hard in each of their past 2 at-bats, but right at Bears defenders. Bring up Taylor Paulina, who is hoping to break out of a slump. Paulina is in the midst of an 0 for 15 stretch. Has not gotten a hit since returning to New England. Pops that one up, and this is going to be playable for the pitcher, and Holt able to retire Paulina, so make it 16 in a row for the Beacon center fielder who had a great doubleheader a season ago against Bridgewater State. Last year, she led UMass Boston, went 4 for 8 with 3 runs, 3 RBI in both games, 3 doubles and a homer, but unfortunately slumping right now. She's 0 for 14 to start New England play and closed out her Florida trip with a pair of outs against the University of Scranton. Beacon still looking for their first base runner here against Mackenzie Holt, the lefty. She's retired 5 in a row, including 4 groundouts. 0-1 to Kira Pressmack, who has seen her batting average rise from .222 to .290. She shows bunt, and she did go as the ball bounced up there, 0-2. On plate, umpire Ray Serrano checking out with his first base umpire Arnie Walken, who also worked the games on Thursday against Castleton, if you were watching. 0-2 to Pressmack. Rise ball. Never going to be in the zone, 1-2. Pressmack hit over 400 as a freshman, trying to get back to that area right now. She's up to 290. Also had a .425 on base percentage and 57 hits and 141 at bats. Pops it up foul, and that one will catch the upper bricks of the Edward T. Barry Ice Rink, but bounce back into play. Pressmack this season making her 12th start in 15 games, hitting .290, 9 of 31, 3 runs, 2 RBI. She had the game-winning hit in Game 2, a walk-off single through the left side to score Kelly Danahy in a 4-3 victory. 2-2, 2 outs. Beacons trail 3-0 in game number 1 of our doubleheader. UMass Boston looks to get something going with 2 down against Mackenzie Holt. The 2-2 offering. Pressmack hits it hard, but it's caught by the shortstop, Mulcahy. We've seen 4 great defensive plays by the infield of the Bears. All the balls hit right at them. And that's kind of been the story of UMass Boston season, as the Beacons, even when they hit them hard, tend to hit them right at someone. Head to the third. Bridgewater State will lead off with, thus far, the offensive hero. It's Shannon Grindle who hit that 3-run homer in the first. She'll be up first, followed by Madison Sinan and Megan Navarro. Grindle, Sinan, and Navarro to lead off the third inning. The Bears lead 3-0 thanks to a 3-run first, in which the Bears, all with one out, had a single, reached on an error, a 3-run homer, a single, and then Jess Greenspan was able to settle down. Greenspan has allowed at least two base runners in each of the first 2 innings. Grindle takes a low breaking ball on the outside corner for strike 1. Grindle now has a team-best 4 home runs on the season. The sophomore out of Halifax, Mass. Bounces up there in the left-hander's batter's box, 1-1. Grindle, as a freshman, started all 35 games, hit .364 with 10 doubles and 2 home runs. Finished second in the MASCAC and led the team with their 34 RBI. Fastball well outside, 2-1. This season, she already has 4 doubles, 4 homers, and give her 16 RBI, which is, I believe, now tops on the team. Yep, 1 ahead of Samantha Mulcahy, who had the team lead going into the day with 15. 3-1 as the breaking ball just misses off the corner. See if Greenspan and the Beacons coaching staff elects to give Grindle anything to hit here. 3-1, fastball outside, and Greenspan not going to challenge Grindle after that line drive homer. She'll issue the leadoff walk. It was big that the Beacons got those last 3 outs of the second. You didn't want to face Grindle for a second time in 2 innings with multiple base runners aboard. Bring up Madison Sinan, who hit a single just in front of the Beacons' right fielder, Giovanna Bonilla, back in the first inning. First pitch, hits it out to right. This one tailing foul, and Bonilla's not going to get there. Sinan, that was her 7th collegiate hit in 27 at-bats. She had a nice game 1 yesterday against Salem State, 2 for 4 with a pair of runs scored. 5 of 17 since returning New England with 3 runs and a pair of walks. Takes a pitch on the inside, half 0-2. Greenspan, despite the 3 earned runs, has struck out 2. Could use a little bit of offensive support after the rough first inning. Swing and a miss. Make it 3 strikeouts for Greenspan, who's able to pick up a strikeout after issuing the leadoff walk. Megan Navarro steps up and takes another strike. This one a fastball on the outside corner at the knees. Navarro struck out swinging her first time up. Greenspan struck out a season-high 7 batters on Thursday against Castleton. Beacons asking for an appeal down to first base, and Navarro did not go. So the count runs to 1-1 with 1 down. Grindle, not really a threat to steal. Went 1 for 2 a season ago on the base pass and has yet to attempt a stolen base this season. Pop-up foul. Count runs to 1-2 as Greenspan, with the exception of that walk to Grindle, which was kind of an intentional walk after falling behind 3-1, has really peppered the strike zone to the majority of batters. The 1-2, swung on and missed, make it back-to-back strikeouts and 4 on the day. Greenspan really hasn't pitched all that poorly. You see the 3 on the board for the Bears here in the third, and you think they're hitting Greenspan around. She has given up 4 hits. A couple of them haven't been hit all that hard, including a bunt single in front of the plate that the Beacons weren't able to field. But a costly error and then a line drive home run have accounted for all 3 runs. Just 2 of them earned. 0-1 with 2 outs, and there's a swinging strike from Courtney Banzi, who grounded back softly to the pitcher back in the first. 0-2 now with 2 down. 0-2 offering, swung on and missed. Vento will have to throw down to first. Greenspan strikes out the side here in the 3rd inning. 5 strikeouts through 3 innings. Can the Beacons get something going behind her? It'll be 7-8-9 in the 3rd. Taking a look right now around the rest of Beaconville. Busy day for UMass Boston String Sports. The track and field team is competing at Tufts University in their first meet here in New England. Baseball just underway in their Little East Conference opener. The Beacons taking on Eastern Connecticut State. UMass Boston picked first in the LEC. Eastern picked 3rd, and the Beacons currently in a pitcher's duel 0-0 through an inning and a half. Lacrosse opens up conference play at Southern Maine today at 1, as the Beacons have won 5 straight against Southern Maine. Beacons men's tennis team opens their title defense at 1 p.m. as well. They'll take on a Bridgewater State team they've defeated 7 times in a row, including last year's LEC semifinals. Tori DeCenso, Giovanna Bonilla, and Gigi Braga here in the 3rd inning. UMass Boston looks to get their first base runners against Mackenzie Holt, who throws a low strike on the outside half. She's really not given the Beacons 2 big righties, Cassidy Gaeta and Tori DeCenso, anything that they can turn on. There's a breaking ball that's a little high, 1-1. DeCenso, the freshman DP out of Lynn, Mass, who had the game-winning walk-off single in Game 1 against Castleton. Flared one out to right field in front of the right fielder and beat the throw to first base. DeCenso making her 13th start, 14th total appearance, hitting .206, 7 for 34, 3 runs scored and a pair of RBI. She's tied for the team lead, though, with 9 strikeouts. 1-1. Takes the breaking ball. 1-2. She has hit a lot better here in New England. 4 for 12 to raise her batting average above 200. Had a nice day against Castleton, 3 for 7 with a run scored and RBI. Tacks that pitch and fouls it off down the right field side. Player has a ton of pop. She was a softball player, volleyball player, and track and field athlete at St. Mary's Lynn High School in the Central Catholic League. She won the shot put as a junior. Takes a rise ball high, and the count runs full at 3-2. I think this is the first full count or any 3-ball count that Holt has had. The Beacons have yet to have a base runner here with no outs in the 3rd. 3-2 pitch coming to DeCenso, taking all the way, and she works the walk, just her 2nd career walk, and the Beacons have a base runner to start the 3rd, looking to get something going against this Bears defense that has looked good thus far, but just like UMass Boston, they've struggled defensively overall. A team fielding percentage of .929. Both teams coming in at .930. You'd like to be somewhere in the 950s, 960s. Bonilla shows bunt. That one's going to stay fair. Picked up by the catcher. Sign, and the throw is in time, and it'll get the job done, but Bonilla was trying to beat it out and just barely missed out on it. A strong throw from Sinan down to the first baseman, Grindle. And there's 1 out with the runner on second for the Beacons' 9-hole hitter, Gigi Braga. Braga, another player who has hit the ball a lot better since returning to New England. She came back from Florida 1 of 19, but she's 4 of 9 here in New England. Has raised her batting average 126 points in 4 games. You can do that early on in the season. You can't necessarily do that late April of a 40-game schedule. On the season, 179, 5 for 28, tied for second with her 6 runs scored. 2 RBI. She's walked 5 times, struck out 4 times. Hits that one out to left. The left fielder coming in. It's a chance for double play. The throw to second, not in time. Braga hit that ball hard, but right at Banzi and left, who was in a little bit. And while that's one of the best hit balls that Braga's had all season long, unfortunately it's right at the left fielder for the second out of the inning. Now it'll be up to the Beacons' leadoff hitter, Ari Bellata. Bellata hit the ball hard to lead off the bottom of the first, but a diving effort from Courtney Gavea at third base. And then a strong throw retired the Beacons' leadoff hitter. Bellata has a lot of pop for a leadoff hitter. She's hitting .314, good for third best on the team. Slugging at .457, also third best. Leads the team with her 8 runs scored. Tied for the team high with 5 doubles and has 4 RBI. 1-0 offering to her. Takes it on the outside half, a fastball for strike 1. Bellata against Castleton on Thursday, 4 for 8, 3 runs scored, a double and an RBI. Looking to drive into Senso and cut into this 3-0 deficit. Beacons still looking for that first hit of the game. 1-1. Breaking ball in the same spot, 1-2. Bellata, a sophomore out of Leominster, Mass. Softball and basketball player at Leominster High. 1-2 as Holt looks to work around the leadoff walk. 1-2 offering, rise ball high, 2-2 now. Holt not a strikeout pitcher. Remember, it's the walks that have hurt her, 33 and 36 in the third coming into today, but she's walked just 1 batter through 2 2/3 to start game number 1 of today's doubleheader. The 2-2 pitch, Bellata takes it outside. Count runs full. Senso out there at second base. Beacons will probably be a little bit conservative on a potential bang-bang play. So they have Danahy and Vento, 2 of their best hitters, up right behind Bellata. UMass Boston has been tinkering with the lineup over the last 5 to 10 games. They really like this top 3, though. 3-2 pitch. Bellata flares it out foul, and we'll do it again. Bellata on the season has struck out just twice. Not a batter who strikes out all that often. Last season had just 6 strikeouts and 100 at-bats as a freshman. 3-2. Bellata swings and a miss. The old broadcaster's curse. First strikeout of the game for Holt. And the Beacons get their first base runner, but leave her out at second base. Through 3 frames, it's UMass Boston 0, Bridgewater State 3 on the Beacons Broadcast Network. Top of the 4th inning, Jess Greenspan's pitching well. She's given up just the 1 big hit. It was a big one, though. Shannon Grindle's 3-run line drive homer. Struck out the side after a leadoff walk to start the third. She's got 5 strikeouts here through 3 frames. Not a big-time strikeout pitcher. Greenspan coming in to today on the season had struck out 21 in just under 50 innings. So there's a 1-0 fastball that catches the inside portion of the plate, 1-1. Courtney Gavea leading off for the second time in 4 innings. The 8-hole hitter was hit by a pitch and stranded at second base back in the second. Gavea fouls that one off the netting in front of the Beacons dugout. Every collegiate softball field in the NCAA, D1, D2, and D3 required to have either protective netting or protective fencing in front of their dugouts for the 2018 season and beyond. New rule implemented. Fastball just off the corner, and the count runs to 2-2. Going back to Greenspan. 21 strikeouts this year in 47 1/3 innings. Last season, she pitched a boatload of innings, 197 1/3, and finished the season with 113 strikeouts. So she's a pitcher who's going to get about strikeout every other inning, maybe 2 out of every 3 innings. Not a huge strikeout pitcher, but is having great success today. I mean, you look back to last season against Bridgewater State, she threw 12 innings, all 12 against the Bears, and struck out just 4 batters in a pair of victories. So this is not typical of her, and that one is so close to being strike 3. The Beacons fans certainly thought that was strike 3, but the breaking ball maybe just a little bit high as it dipped down over the outside of the plate. Roxanne Vento certainly thought it was strike 3. Not only did she frame it for a while, but she's still smiling. 3-2 effort. Swung on and missed. Doesn't matter. That's 4 straight strikeouts for Greenspan. 6 on the game. And how about this? All 6 coming by way of the strikeout swinging. Brings up Casey Carvalho, who had a bunt single back in the second. She can absolutely fly. Hitting over 450. Prototypical slap bunt hitter from the left side. Center fielder, a first-team all-conference player in each of the past 2 years, and you expect with that kind of speed, she's probably a really good defender in center field, can track down a lot of balls. 1-0 to her. Fastball on the outside, half 1-1. Beacon's second baseman, Kelly Danahy, is almost even with the rubber to charge any potential bunt. Ari Bellata is in at third base. Cassidy Gate is back at first. A full swing from Carvalho, and she's well out in front, 1-2. So chance for potentially a 5th consecutive strikeout from Greenspan, who's on quite a run. 1-2 offering, just a little bit inside, 2-2. You really want to vary the speeds and the locations, not just to any batter, but especially to a slapper with this kind of speed that Carvalho has shown. Beacon's outfield is way in right now, especially in right, where Bonilla is backing up Danahy, who's way in at second. Swung on and missed. 5 straight strikeouts for Jess Greenspan. 7 on the day, ties her season high. And Greenspan looks like she's well on her way to a career high. Brings up the leadoff hitter, Samantha Mulcahy, who's 0 for 2. Struck out swinging, popped up a bunt foul to the first baseman back in the second. It's her 3rd at bat here in the 4th inning. If Greenspan can get one more strikeout, I believe it'll be a career high. Gonna have to dig a little bit deeper, but season high was 7 against Castleton. Remember, only threw 113 strikeouts in almost 200 innings last season. Okay, he takes that one a bit too far inside, and it's 1-2 now. Can Greenspan strike out the side in back-to-back innings? We're about to find out. Mulcahy looks to get something going for the Bears, who've had a runner in every inning but this one. Popped up, so Greenspan will likely not strike out the side, but she has retired 6 in a row, and 9 of the past 10. Greenspan's on fire. Can the Beacons get something going on behind her? They got a base runner in the third. Can they get that first hit and potentially first run? Find out after this. Before we get to the bottom of the fourth inning, let's take a look around the rest of the conference. This is literally conference opening day for baseball, softball, lacrosse, tennis, but not for UMass Boston softball. Western Connecticut State's field unplayable, so the Colonials postponed on Thursday. The Beacons able to find an opponent for today, which allowed them to get some games in, try to continue to break out of this offensive slump they've been in to begin the season. Take a look at some of the other games around the conference. Keene State is at UMass. Dartmouth off to a great start, including a win over then number 7 Amherst College. Plymouth State is at Rhode Island College. Southern Maine at EastCon. Looking around the preseason poll, the Beacons at Western were picked 1 and 2, so that would have been the big game. Now it looks like that Plymouth State game against Rhode Island College, maybe in Southern Maine and Eastern, could be the games to watch, as Southern Maine and Eastern both picked in a 3-way tie for 4th. Kelly Danahy takes a breaking ball on the inside, half 0-1. Danahy, the Beacons' 2-hole hitter. She popped up foul to the shortstop back in the first inning. Rise ball high, 1-1. UMass Boston has had just one base runner through 3 innings. A leadoff walk to Tori DeCenso back in the third. Danahy came in hitting over 400 after a 5-for-6 day against Castleton. Takes a breaking ball right down the middle, 1-2. Delayed call there from Ray Serrano behind the plate. One of the best breaking balls we've seen today from Mackenzie Holt, who's looked very good, looking for a second win in her last 2 games. Danahy takes a fastball inside, 2-2. Danahy to be followed by Vento and Gata. UMass Boston looking for that first hit of the day. They were no hit through 3 innings the other day against Babson before they got back-to-back hits in the 4th, including one from Danahy. Popped up, foul once again. This time the first baseman Grindle able to make the catch. And there's one down in the 4th inning. Bring up Roxanne Vento, who hit the ball very hard, but right back at the pitcher to end the first. Ball actually caught Mackenzie Holt. Ended up at her feet, and after spinning around, was able to pick it up and throw out Vento. And obviously is okay as she stayed in the game. First pitch to Vento, flared out to left, and the Beacons have their first hit. A nice job by Banzi to get over and cut it off. But Vento is aboard as Roxanne picks up hit number 13 on the season. And her on-base percentage stays at .500. She's now 1 for 2 on the day and keeps that on-base percentage at an even .500 on the season. Slugging percentage just shy of .600. Cassidy Gata steps up. Gata lined out to the first baseman in the first trip to the plate to lead out the second. Has yet to see a pitch anywhere but off the plate or right on the edge of the plate. This Holt has been very selective around the Beacons cleanup hitter. 1-0. That one is low and outside, 2-0. Gata be followed by Paulina, and if it gets that far, Kira Pressmack. So the Beacons look to come from behind for a 3rd consecutive game. 2-0 is a breaking ball high and outside, 3-0. Holt has walked a batter thus far and has had issues with walks, although this seems to be kind of a focused wildness as she's been unable to connect on the outside corner, is not willing to put it over the plate here, and that one is on the outside corner. Gaeta had the red light, 3-1. Vento at first base. Not the fastest runner. Don't expect her to be taking off. 3-1 pitch. Foul back. And now it'll be interesting at 3-2 if the Beacons risk putting the runner in play, or if they want to avoid a possible strike him out, throw him out. Gaeta tied with DeCenso. Beacons' two freshman first basemen / DPs have both struck out 9 times, and Gaeta has struck out in each of her last 5. The full count pitch. That's low and outside. Vento takes off, but it doesn't matter. And the Beacons have 2 runners aboard for the first time today. Second walk of the game for Holt, and it'll bring up Taylor Paulina. Paulina did hit a 3-run homer a season ago against Bridgewater State, along with 3 doubles and 6 RBI. A 3-run homer right now would be quite nice. The Beacons would just love for Paulina to break out of this little slump she's been in. For her last 16, including 14 consecutive at-bats in New England.
Center field number 15, Taylor Paulina.
Paulina, an all-conference first-team player as a freshman. Junior captain out of Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Making her 15th start, hitting .205, 8 for 40 with 3 runs, 2 doubles, and 3 RBI. 0-1 to Paulina. Shows bunt, puts it down on the first base side. Grindle is going to apply the tag. No, they say she doesn't. It'll end up being a fielder's choice. Ray Serrano says no. And now we're going to get an argument from the Bridgewater State coach. It's first-year head coach Lindsay Couturier. And the question is, did the base umpire, Arnie Walkin, see something different? We'll see Serrano do the right thing, come down and talk to Walkin, but that's not Walkin's job. Walkin's focused on the base runners in that situation. And you can see the 2 guys talking right now. Did you see something differently? Shannon Grindle is convinced that she applied the tag. She's still saying, I tagged her. But that's not what Serrano says, and they're going to call time again. You very rarely see an overturned call when it's just a 2-umpire system. And Serrano appears to be telling Couturier that that's what he saw. So the Beacons have the bases loaded on an infield single from Paulina. So Paulina breaks out of a slump thanks to a bit of a controversial play, but the Beacons will take it. The base is full of Beacons for Kira Pressmack. Pressmack had an RBI in both games on Thursday against Castleton. Lined out hard to the shortstop to end the second. And she'll chop it back to the pitcher. This is going to be a tough play, and the throw home is out. Roxanne Vento, a little bit late to get to the plate. Pressmack was going to be safe at first, but Vento a step slow in getting the plate, and it goes down as a fielder's choice. If you switch the 2 base runners there, the Beacons easily score a run. But Vento unable to beat the throw. And the Beacons now the bases loaded with 2 outs for Tori DeCenso. Realistically, that's an infield single for Pressmack 9 times out of 10. But unfortunately, the out at the plate, and Holt made a strong throw. So DeCenso, who is yet to have an official at-bat, walked back in the 3rd. Big spot here with 2 outs and the bases loaded. Beacons trying to avoid leaving 4 runners over the last 2 innings. DeCenso takes a breaking ball on the outside half, 1-1. If DeCenso were to reach, Giovanna Bonilla due up next. The Beacons gave up 3 runs in the top of the 1st. Since then, Greenspan's been pretty much unhittable, but the Beacons haven't been able to do much against Mackenzie Holt either. 1-1. Rise ball well high, 2-1. A walk is just as good as a hit right now for UMass Boston as they try to crack the lefty out of Gilroy, California. Pair of state schools. You don't see many players outside of New England on either roster. 2-1. Low and outside with a fastball, 3-1. In fact, Gilroy is the only player not from the state of Massachusetts on the Bears roster. The Beacons have a couple players from outside of New England. Giovanna Beni in the on-deck circle from Queens, New York. Obviously, Kira Pressmack from Houston, Texas. And then Drew Washington, who will likely start game 2, is from Bordentown, New Jersey, as that is just off the corner. And DeCenso has walked a pair of times. It's now 3 walks in the game for Holt. And it's an RBI bases-loaded walk. The Beacons have cut the deficit to 3-1. And it'll bring up Giovanna Beni to the plate with 2 down. Bonilla, a tremendous defender who moved from the right side to the left side as a sophomore. Beacons decided that they were going to try her out as a slap hitter in her sophomore season. And she's really showing signs of picking it up. Had a huge slap single through the left side against Castleton the other day. 0-1, swung on and missed. And it's 0-2. Big spot right now for UMass Boston as they try to get back into this game. Infield in, especially at second and third. 0-2, swung on and missed. Holt picks up her first strikeout in a big spot. And the Beacons strand the bases loaded, but they do get 1 run back in their first hit of the game. That's the positive. It's 3-1 Bridgewater State through 4. Top of the 5th inning, the Beacons maybe have a little bit of new life, down 3-1 at this point. But at least they've been able to put base runners on in each of the past 2 innings. And a big reason why it's just 3-1 is Jess Greenspan. She's really settled in. After giving up that 3-run homer to Grindle with 1 out in the first, she's allowed just 1 hit, has 2 hits, a hit by pitch and a walk, and has struck out 7 batters. Her career high is 9. That was back in her freshman season. In fact, that 9 strikeout performance came in her best collegiate game. A no-hitter in her second collegiate start, allowed 1 run. It was unearned. 6 innings, 9 strikeouts, 2 walks. She also struck out 8 against MCLA and Rhode Island College. Swung on and missed. And it's 1-1 to Mackenzie Holt, the pitcher who originally was just in the DP spot, but Bridgewater State, a very late change to switch her and the defensive player, Dianara Underhill, as a diving effort from Bellotta and a strong throw retires Holt. That's a huge out, as with this next batter, as the Beacons try to avoid facing Shannon Grindle with runners on base. That's the big thing today. Can you avoid the big bopper with any ducks on the pond? Grindle got a chance in the first inning after a infield single and an error, and she promptly hit a 3-run homer over the right center field fence. The Beacons would love to face Grindle here with 2 down in the inning. Breaking ball hit over to Danahy. Plenty of time, throws it across, and 2 quick outs. This is what you want from Jess Greenspan. Settle down from a slow start that wasn't all your fault. Give yourself a chance to get right back out there as the Beacons will bring up 9-1-2 in the 5th inning and try to get to Mackenzie Holt. Grindle is yet to be retired. The 3-run homer, her 4th on the season. And then the Beacons kind of pitched around her to lead off the 3rd, a 5-pitch walk, as UMass Boston's refusing to give her anything that she can potentially hit out of here. That first home run was a blast to right center that was one of the fastest balls I've ever seen get over the fence at the UMB softball field. Just a straight line drive that was maybe foot and a half over the right center field fence that stands at about 6 feet tall. 2-0 to the cleanup hitter, make it 3-0, and I'm expecting a fourth ball coming shortly. Greenspan and Natalia Ardagna, who calls the pitches from the Beacons dugout, not taking any chances against the sophomore out of Halifax. Just a little bit high and outside. And Greenspan has walked Grindle in her last 2 at-bats in a combined 9 pitches. Don't blame her at all. Especially because the rest of this Bridgewater lineup doesn't have as much pop. Not trying to take away anything from Madison Sinan or Megan Navarro, the 2 hitters behind Grindle, but there's not exactly a second big-time power hitter behind her that really intimidates you and makes you pitch to Grindle. Sinan today singled to right back in the first and struck out swinging in the third. She was the first of 5 consecutive strikeout victims. 0-1 hit, hard but fouled on the third baseline, just past the diving Bellotta at third. 0-2 here. Greenspan tries to post her most strikeouts on the season. She's already struck out 7, which tied her season high from Thursday. Looking for strikeout number 8. Greenspan has struck out a batter in every inning but the second and now the 5th. Breaking ball a little high. Was hoping the batter would chase 1 and 2. And you'd look at the difference between Grindle, now has those 4 homers and 4 doubles, and Sinan, who's hitting 5th. Sinan has just 7 hits this season without an extra base hit, so not quite as intimidating as batter. Swung on and missed. 8 strikeouts on the day. A new season high, 1 shy of tying her career high. Greenspan is pitching well. Can the Beacons find something against Holt in the bottom of the 5th? We'll find out after this. (9-1-2) for UMass Boston, who finally got something going against Mackenzie Holt in the 4th inning. Beacons got a 1-out single from Roxanne Vento, a walk to put 2 runners on, then a controversial infield single by Taylor Paulina. Shannon Grindle tried to apply the tag, but she was so focused on seeing if she could get the runner at third base that it wasn't an evident tag. I'm not sure if she actually tagged her one way or another. Grindle was convinced, but home plate umpire Ray Serrano saw it differently. That loaded the bases. Kira Pressmack was retired on the fielder's choice as they got the lead runner at home, but then a bases-loaded walk to Tori DeCenso gave the Beacons a 3-1 lead before Holt was able to close out the inning with her second strikeout of the game. This will bring up Gigi Braga, who hit a hard ball but right at the left fielder. Banzi back in the second. Braga's down in the count, 0-2. She tries to get something going. 4 for 10 since returning to New England. Last season went 3 for 6 with 4 runs and a walk out of the leadoff spot in a doubleheader against Bridgewater State. 0-2 pitch hit softly right in front of the plate. That's a fair ball. The throw down to first, not in time. That ball was maybe a quarter inch from going foul, and it was hit 3, maybe 4 inches from home plate, but it ends up being a fair ball, and the Beacons have their 3rd hit of the game. Haven't hit the ball all that hard against Holt, but that one is effective as Sinan really didn't have a chance to get the speedy Braga. Her only hope was to potentially let that ball go foul. Brings up Ari Bellotta, 0 for 2, a ground out to third, a strikeout swinging. Shows bunt and bunts it foul. The corner infielders were really crashing hard on Bellotta. Interesting decision here on whether you put down the sack bunt. Down 2 runs, you still have 9 outs to give. I can see it either way if you're UMass Boston. They do have Danahy and Vento due up next, so put Braga at second base. A hit definitely scores her. As Braga takes off, looking for her first stolen base of the season, she's in there. The throw up the line, and now they're going to call her out. Arnie Walken calls her out. Not only did Mulcahy drop the ball, I don't know where the tag was applied. I would love to see a replay on that. Braga was behind the throw, and unless Mulcahy made the greatest swipe tag of all time, coming behind her back and making the tag with a very long stretch, that's a very difficult call. And again, I don't see the umpires overturning this because Walken has the better angle, but I just don't see how Mulcahy made that tag. It was a really long delayed call, too. Braga can't believe it. And now the Beacons third base coach, Josh Bartley's asking. And both Beacons coaches, the first base coach, the head coach, and the third base coach, disagree with the call, and so does everyone here. I just don't see how Mulcahy made the tag. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with the call of Arnie Walken. I'm more confused by the physics, as Mulcahy, whose body was traveling away from it and who was struggling to make the catch. After all, she dropped it on the final pitch, as it's now 1-2 to Bellata and a frustrated Beacons team as Braga is thrown out. It just doesn't make 100% sense to me how that tag was applied by the shortstop. 1-2 is high, 2-2. Tough break for the Beacons. With no outs, with 1 out now and no one on. Down to their final 8 as Bellata wasn't able to get the bunt down, and now the Braga thrown out. Bellata's going to have to start something here, 2-2. 2-2 pitch, outside 3-2. Now, of course, the umpires don't have the benefit of instant replay. It's just one of those plays where it's very difficult to see in real time. 3-2, Bellata. Probably chased ball 4 there, but fouls it off down the right field side. Bellata has struck out once, one of 2 strikeout victims for Mackenzie Holt. It's not an overpowering pitcher. Beacons have put base runners on in each of the past 2 innings after going down 1-2-3 in the first 2. 3-2 pitch is called strike 3. Bellata was bailing out, and it catches the inside corner. The 3rd strikeout of the game for Holt. All of a sudden, there's 2 down with no one on after what looked like a possible promising start to the inning to a leadoff hit from Gigi Braga. Brings up Kelly Danahy, the Beacons' 2-hole hitter, who has popped up foul to the shortstop down the third baseline and the first baseman down the first baseline. First pitch to Danahy. It's a bit too far inside, 1-0. Danahy, if she were to reach, to be followed by Vento, who has one of the Beacons' 3 hits. Only hit that made it past the circle. Danahy taking. And it catches the outside corner, 1-1. UMass Boston gave up 3 in the first, got 1 back, but left the bases loaded in the 4th, trying to come up with another comeback. They've already scored back-to-back comeback and walk-off wins during this homestand, and their home opener, in fact. So they were the road team here at home against Babson back on Wednesday. This is game 5 of 6 this week for UMass Boston, their first games in New England this season. Danahy takes it low, and the count runs to 3-1. Holt has issued 3 walks thus far, and walks have been an issue. A walk here could prove to be troublesome for Bridgewater, as Vento has a ton of pop in the on-deck circle. 3-1 pitch. Danahy swings, but hits it right at the second baseman, Navarro. Another hard hit ball right at a defender. The end of 5. Bridgewater leads 3-1. Top of the 6th inning, 6, 7, 8 for the Bears, Navarro, Banzi, and Gavea. And I want to give a clarification on that caught stealing back in the last half inning that proved to be so controversial if you're a fan of the Beacons. The call on the field that was not relayed to the press area, which makes it a little bit harder for us to tell you, the viewer at home, what actually happened. Arnie Walking called Gigi Braga for the runner leaving early. Now, the Beacons coaches still disagreed with that call. But it makes a lot more sense than that tag being applied at second, which is what we originally thought was the call. Navarro is 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Jess Greenspan has struck out 8 batters, one shy of her career high. It's 1-1 right now to Navarro, trying to avoid a third strikeout in as many at-bats. Bears scored 3 in the first, 2 earned on a 3-run homer from the cleanup hitter Grindle, but outside of that, they've managed just one hit by pitch, and a pair of walks over the past 4 frames, as they're hoping that that 3-run homer might be enough. Haven't been able to do much else against Greenspan, the Beacons ace, who came up with an ERA of 2.51 entering today's game. 1-2 pitch coming to Navarro. A little bit low there with the fastball, trying to get her to chase a pitch that was outside, and the count runs to 2-2. 2-2 breaking ball flared out to right. Oh, Dennehy makes the play over her head. Looked like it was getting down, and Dennehy able to track it down. And he turned her back to the infield and able to reach up and make the play. Highlight reel play from a player who came into UMass Boston as an outfielder, but has transitioned to playing second base and playing it quite well. Got a pinch hitter, it looks like, in the 7-hole. So we're going to see Jenny Heller, who started in left field yesterday, come on to pinch hit for Courtney Banzi. Heller, a junior, listed as a utility player out of Taunton, Mass., attended Bridgewater Raynham Regional High School. Say that 3 times fast. Jenny did not play last season after starting 29 games as a freshman, hitting .304 with 11 runs and 10 RBI. This season, she's been one of the team's better hitters, making her 12th appearance, 14th appearance, 11 starts prior to today. Hitting .364, .545 slugging percentage, good for second on the team. 12 for 33 with 7 runs scored, 3 doubles, a homer, and 6 RBI. This is some of the pop that the team has. They just haven't necessarily put out in today's Game 1 lineup. It's 0-1 to Heller, the pinch hitter, who hits it softly back to Greenspan. Fields, throws, and Greenspan continues to be incredibly successful since giving up that home run. She allowed 4 of the first 5 batters she faced to reach base. One of them was on an error. Since then, she's allowed just the 1 hit, the 2 walks, and a hit by pitch, while striking out 7 of her 8 batters. Courtney Gavay was hit by a pitch and stranded at second in the second, then struck out swinging as part of a run of 5 consecutive strikeouts. Back in the third, flares this one out to shallow center. Diving effort from Braga, and she makes the play. What an effort from the Beacons middle infield to get the first and third outs of the inning. Braga, another play with her back turned to the infield, and we head to the bottom of the 6th. 3-4-5 for UMass Boston. Can they get something offensively? We'll find out in just a few minutes. Three, 4, 5 for the Beacons. Potentially the last chance in the middle of the order here in game number 1. Vento, Gata, and Paulino. All three reached their last time up on a single, a walk, and a single as part of the Beacons' lone scoring inning. That came back to the 4th. Beacons trailed 3-0 to the top of the 4th, and they've after the top of the 1st, and have been trying to cut into that deficit ever since. As Vento takes a first pitch breaking ball for strike 1. Vento grounded back to the pitcher in the 1st. A single to the left fielder back in the 4th, and was retired on a fielder's choice, thrown out at home on a ball hit back to the first baseman. 1-1 to Vento. Carries a batting average just about .370 right now, and an on-base percentage right at .500. Tied for the team high with 5 doubles and 1 home run. Vento hits it hard, and the second baseman can't make the play. A high hop. See if that's ruled a infield single, and it is. So Vento is 2 for 3. Would have been a difficult play for Navarro nonetheless, and the high hop, not something that she was anticipating on the backhand. Vento's 2 for 3, and it'll bring up Cassidy Gata. Gata worked a walk and scored back in the 4th. She's a player who could potentially tie this game with one swing of the bat. Hit a home run to dead center field against Bowdoin College down in Florida. Still looking for that first extra base hit here in New England. Lined out to the first baseman in the 2nd, and then walked her last time up. Gata has 1 double and 1 home run on the year, slugging at .316, hitting at .211. So the pop certainly is there. Count at 1-1 with no outs. UMass Boston trying to come back for a 3rd straight game. 1-1 effort. Hit softly over to the first baseman. Grindle will go to 2nd. And once again, Vento is out by half a step. I don't think Vento anticipated that ball coming to 2nd because she didn't slide. And if she had, she probably would have made that a bang call. You never know. It's interesting. I was wondering if the Beacons would potentially pinch run for Vento in that situation. Instead, they elected to save the pinch runner, hoping that they'd have multiple base runners on. And now there's only 1 runner on with 1 out. Grindle was easily going to get the out at first base, but got the lead runner. And it's first pitch breaking ball to Paulino, who snapped an 0 for 15 streak with a bunt single back in the 4th inning. Now we're going to see the pinch runner that I anticipated coming on earlier. It's number 16, Gianna Salemi, who's the Beacons' go-to pinch runner right now. He's appeared in both games against Castleton and 4 of 5 games since returning to New England. Salemi, the freshman infielder from Windsor, Connecticut, attended Northwest Catholic High School. She'll take over at first base for Cassidy Gata. Count stays at 1-0 for Paulina, who hit the ball softly back to the pitcher in her first at bat. Hit the ball softly down the first base line, but reached in the fourth. UMass Boston trying to get something going right now. They've got 4 hits against Holt, make it 5 as Salemi waited, and it's going to be a close play at second. The throw, and she's out. Salemi's going to be called out at second base on a beautiful play by the right fielder. Now, we're going to get another meeting between the two. But honestly, despite the Beacon's anger, the bigger issue there is Gianna Salemi did not read that ball well at all. That ball was clearly getting down for a while, and Salemi waited halfway between first base and second base, allowing there to be a bang-bang play at second for the second out. UMass Boston might not like the call, but their base running has not been good in this game. If this call stands up, which almost certainly it will, there's going to be 2 outs with the runner on first, the second consecutive fielder's choice on what should have been first and second with 1 out. So Paulina at first after what should have been a hit. It's now a fielder's choice, and Kira Pressmack steps up and hits it out to center. Paulina is going to take off for third, and the Beacons will have runners at second and third as Pressmack advances to second on the throw. So the Beacons, instead of having the bases loaded or potentially a run in, now have second and third for Tori DeCenso. So we're going to see another conversation. Now Bridgewater State doesn't agree with the call at third base. Arnie Walken doesn't have any fans at this field. Bridgewater State coach isn't happy. UMass Boston fans and coaches aren't happy. And I think the conversation is if Taylor Paulina over at first base may have left early. It's already called 1 Beacons runner for leaving early. The situation we anticipate to be second and third with 2 down for Tori DeCenso, who with 1 swing of a bat could make this a 3-3 game, even 4-4 with the amount of pop that she's capable of. This has been a really slow-moving last couple of innings. Lots of conferences between the umpires. We're going to get another one of them. If you were keeping track, I believe this is the 4th, maybe 5th between the umpires. And if this call goes against UMass Boston, you're going to see a riot. And for the 5th time today, the umpires are going to agree with the original call on the field. Not a surprise. So Pressmack does the job and wisely advances as the throw came in at third base. Good base running from Paulina. And Tori DeCenso, who has walked twice and had an RBI on the second walk, has a chance for another big hit after having the walk-off hit the other day against Bridgewater State. First pitch fastball is low and outside. She's yet to see anything she can hit. And we've got a pinch hitter in the on-deck circle as Angelina Avatable would hit for Giovanna Beni if it gets that far. 1-0 to DeCenso, well outside, 2-0. Kira Pressmack is taking a huge lead off of second base. If this ball hits the outfield grass, Kira Pressmack is going home. I don't know if she'll be safe, but there is nothing stopping her, including Josh Bartley, the Beacons' third base coach. She wants to tie this game right now. 2-0 is high and outside. I don't think that Bridgewater State's going to give her anything to hit at this point. I mean, even with Benia out of the on-deck circle, they just don't want to give DeCenso anything. There is a ball on the field in center field. My question is, how long has that ball been there, unless one of the construction workers just threw that? As Ray Serrano, the home plate umpire, caught sight of it. There is a construction worker walking around the storm in center field right now. Might have thrown one back. That could have been the home run ball from the first inning, but still a little bit of an odd twist. Count right now is 3-0 to DeSense, who's already walked twice, and she's walked 3 times. It's going to be Angelina Avitable, the Beacon sophomore catcher out of Holbrook, Mass, to pinch hit for Giovanna Bonilla. Avitable, a big spot for her. As a freshman, went 0 for 4 with a pair of runs and an RBI. He's hit better as a sophomore, making her 5th appearance, including 3 starts. 2 for 8 with 2 runs and an RBI. A hit here would likely score 2 and tie the game. The Beacons left the bases loaded in the 4th, looking to avoid doing the same thing here in a wild 6th that has seen the Bears get the lead runner a pair of times, including a controversial play at second base, a bang-bang call that the Beacons disagreed with, but I still go back to the base running as Gianna Salemi was just confused enough by whether the ball was going to land or enough to give the Bears a chance at getting her at second. And now it's up to Avitable, pinch hitting for Bonilla in the 8th spot. Beacons have had their chances the last couple innings, but the Bears have played good defense, and UMass Boston base running and speed on the base pass has not been good. They've been out by a foot or less on 3, 4, maybe even 5 close plays. A couple of those they didn't slide. So here comes Avitable, who takes the first pitch on the outside corner, 0-1. Avitable did not like it. Avitable came on and actually started against Babson in Game 2 the other day, went 0 for 2 with a strikeout. The 0-1 offering, rise ball high, 1-1. If Avitable were to reach, Gigi Braga awaits on deck. She's 1 for 2 on the day as the Beacons try to come back from this 3-0 deficit. They now trail 3-1 after a run in the 4th. Came on a bases loaded walk. 1-1. That one is in the same spot as the first pitch. 1-2. Big pitch right now for Mackenzie Holt. Not a big-time strikeout pitcher. She does have 3 today. Avitable just trying to put the ball in play, put the pressure on the defense. 1-2 offering, popped up on the infield. Holt just outside the circle, and the Beacons leave the bases loaded for the second time in 3 innings. We head to the 7th. Bridgewater State is rolling. They lead 3-1. 9-1-2, Casey Carvalho, the speedy top hitter on the team in terms of average, who has put down a bunt single and struck out swinging, followed by Samantha Mulcahy and Mackenzie Holt. Jess Greenspan gave up 3 runs, 2 earned in the first inning on a 3-run homer, and it since then has allowed just the 1 hit coming back in the, 2 hits, 1 in the first after the homer and 1 in the second. Looking to potentially tie or pass her career high in strikeouts as Carvalho slices one down the left field line. A perfect slap, just couldn't put it fair. Count it 1-1 with no outs. Beacon's baseball team has erupted. They're also in a bit of an offensive slump. They've got 5 runs and lead 5-1 at the top of the 5th with 2 runners on and 1 out. Popped up on the infield, and it's going to get out of play off the top of the Bridgewater dugout. Can Greenspan pick up strikeout number 9? Already has a season high with 8, tied for her second most. One and two. Greenspan asking for the signs again. UMass Boston re-entered Cassidy Gate at first and Giovanna Bonilla in right. Fastball just misses off the outside edge. 2-2 now to Carvalho. Carvalho's not the player you want to see on base right now if you're the Beacons. So speedy, could easily get a bunt single, steal second, and then potentially add a big insurance run. 2-2 pitch just off the corner high, and the count runs full. Greenspan has issued 2 walks, but both have been intentional walks to Shannon Grindle, the cleanup hitter, who hit that home run in her first at-bat. Greenspan just electing to not pitch to her anymore. That one is low, and ball 4 as Carvalho took a while to head over towards first. So walk number 3, she's aboard with no outs for the leadoff hitter, Mulcahy. And you got to figure this is a bunt situation for the Bears, who already lead by 2. Carvalho 2 for 2 on the base pass this year for a team that doesn't steal all that often. Mulcahy's 0 for 3. Pair of pop-ups and a strikeout. Puts down a bunt to the third baseman, Bellotta Fields. Throws it across to Danahy for the first out. That'll go down as a 5-4 sack bunt, doing exactly what she was asked to do. And it'll bring up the pitcher, Mackenzie Holt, trying to help herself out. Holt singled and scored in the first, flew out to center in the second, and grounded out to third in the 5th. Danahy way in at second base, even with the rubber. Gated back at first. Left side of the infield coming in as well. 0-1 to Holt, who has pitched very well. Look at Holt. Yesterday, she got the start in game 1 and just went 2 innings, went 6 total innings. This is one of her longer outings as a Bear. Pops it up out to left center. The Beacons outfielders way in, and it's Kira Pressmack running in front of Taylor Paulina to make the play in what's essentially deep shortstop. I mean, Pressmack was a step, maybe 2 steps off the infield dirt. Brings up Alexander Ruprecht, and this is the batter that Greenspan's got to get. If Ruprecht reaches, she'll have to face Shannon Grindle with runners on and 2 outs, and that's something the Beacons would rather not have to think about. If you can get Ruprecht here and then score 3 runs in the bottom of the 7th, Beacons will not have to face Grindle again this game, and they can walk off happy with a victory. First, you got to get Ruprecht, though, who has reached on an error and scored and grounded out twice. Greenspan, the stab with the right glove. And she retires Ruprecht for a 3rd time and strands a runner at second base. We head to the bottom of the 7th. The Beacons will need that comeback magic once again. UMass Boston will have 9-1-2 to lead off the 7th as they look for at least 2, potentially 3. 9-1-2 for the Beacons. Braga, Bellotta, and Danahy looking to get something going against Mackenzie Holt. Those three have combined for one hit in their first 8 at-bats. Braga had a leadoff bunt single in the 5th, but was called for leaving early, trying to steal second when the Beacons were down 3-1. Still are. Shows bunt, bunts it back to the stop, 0-1. Infield is way in against the Beacons lefty slapper, who did slap a pretty well-hit line drive out to left, but right at Courtney Banzi in her first at-bat back in the 3rd. Second baseman even with the rubber. Third baseman Gouveia way in. Shortstop looks like she's charging as well. Braga takes it inside and falls to her butt. It's 1-1. Not exactly the most athletic-looking play, but it works. Braga, a two-sport athlete, certainly a much better athlete than I ever was, a member of the Beacons women's soccer team and the Beacons shortstop on the softball diamond. 1-1, hits it over to the shortstop. Tough play. Mulcahy's throw is in time as Braga goes down once again. Beat her by half a step, and Braga is slow to get up as much from the indignity of probably being thrown out as anything else. Is Mulcahy a big-time throw to get the speedy Braga, and there's one down here in the 7th. Holt looking for just her second win as a Bear. Came in with a 1-5 record, 5.97 ERA, but has pitched well today. Ari Bellotta sees that one bounce up in the left-hander's batter's box, 1-0. Bellotta has not had good luck today against Holt. She grounded out to third on a hard hit ball back in the 1st, a diving stop from Gouveia to make the play, and then struck out swinging to end the 3rd, struck out looking in the 5th. 1-0 pitch. That one's too far outside and low. 2-0. If Bellotta could reach, it would mean that Roxanne Vento would likely hit in this inning. UMass Boston needs to get at least one base runner to tie the game. Bellotta hits it softly. Much easier play from Mulcahy. The throw in plenty of time, and the Beacons are down to their last out. Danahy has had a rough day. 0 for 3. Popped up foul to the shortstop, the third baseman, then ripped a 3-1 pitch, but right at the second baseman, Navarro, to end the 5th. Beacons need a hit here to extend this game. First pitch is low with the breaking ball. 1-0 to the Beacons' second baseman and 2-hole hitter. Holt looking for her first complete game of the season. Fastball catches inside corner at the knees, 1-1. If Danahy were to reach, Vento would step up. She's had hits in her last 2 at-bats. And then if it went further, Cassidy Gaeta, the Beacons cleanup hitter. 1-1 to Danahy. Danahy takes it high, 2-1. Walk here is just as good as a hit. UMass Boston needs a base runner before they can think about tying this game. Danahy came in with the team lead for total bases with 21. Also has 3 walks. 2-1 effort. Just a bit inside. Long frame from Sinan, and it's 3-1. Be interesting to see if Danahy gets the green light here. The last time it was 3-1, she was given the green light, hit a ball hard, but right at the second baseman, Navarro. See what the Beacons like to do. 3-1, taken the whole way, and it's strike 2 on the outside corner. Full count. Beacons down to potentially their last pitch of the game. They gave up 3 in the top of the first. 2 of them earned, and have trailed the rest of the way. 3-2 pitch, swung on and missed. A breaking ball that Danahy was way out in front of. The 4th strikeout of the game. Mackenzie Holt, her first complete game as a Bear. Her second win as a Bear, and the Beacons fall 3-1 thanks to a 3-run homer from Shannon Grindle back in the first inning. Jess Greenspan pitched extremely well, but the offense couldn't provide anything behind her. Take a quick look ahead for UMass Boston, and then give a shout out to our production team before we close out broadcast number 1 of the day. see a look ahead for UMass Boston. Beacons are through 5 games on this 12-game homestand. UMass Boston will host Salve Regina on Tuesday, Framingham State Thursday, before opening conference play next Saturday against Plymouth State, a rematch of the LEC championship game in which the Panthers were the top seed and the Beacons actually earned the championship, defeating the Panthers twice in a row. Finally, UMass Boston will travel to Emmanuel College, their first true road games here in New England on Tuesday, April 10th, for a pair of night games that will probably be quite chilly that evening. So right now we'll take a moment to give a shout-out to our production team. Cassie Murphy doing a great job on camera, as she's done for every Beacon softball game thus far this season. Rachel Maslak, your director. My name is Seth Rensky, your producer and play-by-play guy. That'll do it for Game 1. Beacons fall 3-1. Mackenzie Holt the victor. Shannon Grindle the offensive hero for the Bears. Jess Greenspan allows just 2 earned runs and posts her second most strikeouts in her career with 8, but it's not enough, and a 3-1 loss as UMass Boston ends up stranding 8 runners over 7 innings. We'll be back in about 20 minutes. You're going to have to exit out of this stream. Check out the Game 2 stream set to start at about 1:45, and we'll probably end up starting game number 2 closer to 2 o'clock because it's just 1:40 here. Welcome back for game number 2 of our non-conference doubleheader between the visiting Bridgewater State University Bears, who have won 4 of 5 to move back to 7-8 on the season. Beacons dropping their first true home game of the season. They fall to 2-1 at home, just 4-11 overall. First game finished 3-1. Let's take you through that game quickly. Jess Greenspan pitched pretty well for UMass Boston. She gave up 3 hits in the first inning, only gave up 1 more after that. That one came in the second. Ended up finishing the day with 4 hits, 3 runs, 2 earned, a season-high 8 strikeouts, and also issued 3 free passes as she picked up the loss. On the other side, Mackenzie Holt pitched pretty well. UMass Boston was no hit through the first 3 innings, only had the 1 walk. Then they had a ton of base runners in the 4th, 5th, and 6th. The Beacons loaded the bases in the 4th and 6th, but unable to do anything with it, with the exception of a bases-loaded walk that Tori DeCenso worked. UMass Boston ending the game with 5 hits, 7 left on base, and the Beacons also were able to work 4 walks against Mackenzie Holt, who will actually get the start again here in Game 2, because when something's working, why change it? The offensive hero for Bridgewater State, it was the cleanup hitter, Shannon Grindle. She hit a 3-run line drive homer, one of the fastest balls I've ever seen get out of the UMB softball field in the first inning, finished 1 for 1. And added 2 walks. The Beacons did not give her anything to hit after that point. Our umpires will switch spots here for game number 2. Arnie Walken will be behind the plate. Ray Serrano will be on the base pass, as the Beacons look for better success trying to split today's doubleheader. They had won 5 in a row against the Bears previously to today. So they now fall to 9-8 all-time against Bridgewater State, the alma mater of UMass Boston coach Natalia Ardagna. Beacons will go with a slightly different look, including their starting pitcher. Megan Hoban will come on to start game number 2. It's her first start of the season in New England. She did pick up a couple starts down in Florida. Hoban has thrown 2 innings of scoreless relief in each of her first 2 appearances back in New England on the season. She is making her 4th start, 7 total appearance, 2-2 with a 6.20 ERA, 14 2/3 innings pitched, 12 strikeouts, 5 walks, 19 hits, 13 runs, 13 earned. She's allowed 5 or more runs in 2 of her 3 starts. Did have a career-high 8 strikeouts and allowed just 2 hits and 2 earned runs in the other start, a win over Becker College down in Florida. In her 2 appearances here in New England, she's gone 4 innings in relief, allowing 4 hits, 3 strikeouts, and has not allowed a run. For the Beacons, a different-looking defensive lineup overall. Roxanne Vento moves from behind the plate over to third base. Ari Bellata shifts from third base to second base. Second baseman Kelly Danahy moves from second to right field. Right fielder Giovanna Bonilla moves from right to left. And Tori DeCenso moves from the DP spot to the first base spot. So the Beacons will go with Bonilla in left, Taylor Paulina, the only outfielder in the same spot. She's in center. Kelly Danahy over in right. Roxanne Vento at third. Gigi Braga at short. She's the lone infielder who stays the same. Ari Bellata at second. At first is Tori DeCenso, Angelina Avatable, who typically warms Megan Hoban up. Those two have a very good chemistry. Will be behind the plate is Mulcahy, the leadoff hitter from game 1, puts down a bunt. Ari Bellata is there, and the Beacons retire Mulcahy, who took a tumble. I believe that one was a 5-4 sack bunt. So 5-4 for the first out of game number 2. Mackenzie Holt, who originally was the designated player in game number 1. They moved her into the field as well as the pitcher. Slaps one off the bag down the third base line, and Holt has a 1-out single. A perfect slap past the diving Vento. Vento has a stronger arm than Bellata, but not quite as active with the glove. And Holt is aboard, trying to help herself. She'll be in the circle at least to start after going the distance for the first time in her collegiate career, at least as a Bridgewater State Bear, just in her first season as a junior. That one bounces up there, and Avatable quickly looks down the runner. It's Alexander Ruprecht, who's hitting third for a second consecutive game and out in right field. She went 0 for 4 in game 1. Did reach on an error. As Kenny King, the Beacons facilities guy, shows that he has absolutely no hands. Tried to make the catch out there. I kind of kid, but Kenny King, a big-time Yankees fan in enemy territory up here, so he deserves all the flack that he'll probably get. 1-1 with 1 out. Runner on first, swung on and missed. Big spot right now for Holben as the big-time bopper, Shannon Grindle, awaits on deck. She was the one who had the big hit in game number 1, the only RBI hit for either team, a 3-run homer. Grindle will be followed by Rebecca Ushman, who did not play in game 1. She'll be in the DP spot hitting 5th. Swung on and missed again. Holben gets Ruprecht swinging. She's 0 for 5 on the day, and Megan Holben picks up the strikeout. See how the Beacons attack Grindle with the runner on here and nowhere to put her. I mean, you could put runners on first and second and just take Ushman. But after the 3-run homer from Grindle in game 1, the Beacons threw her only one more strike the rest of the day, issuing 2 intentional walks. Grindle has 4 home runs on the season, a team high 16 RBI. Also plays a pretty good first base for the Bears. 0-1 to her, low and outside, 1-1. Grindle last season finished second in the MASCAC with 34 RBI. She's up to 16 this season in 13-plus games. Her slugging percentage going into that last game was .756. Figure a home run, 4 bases, and 1 at-bat might be closer to 800. 1-2 as Holben has dropped a couple of breaking balls low and outside. Not a spot where Grindle can probably put the ball over the wall as easily. Runner at first is Holt, who reached on a slap that hit the third base bag. 1-2, flared foul. Kenny King's got another chance, and this time he'll wait for it to bounce. Wise play from the guy who does the Zamboni for the UMass Boston men's and women's hockey teams. One and two down. Beacons trying to get through a scoreless top of the first. That ball's flared out to right. He comes in, and for the first time today, the Beacons have retired Shannon Grindle. That one will go down as a L9. See UMass Boston's new look lineup coming up as they will face a familiar face in the lefty, Mackenzie Holt. We'll give you the numbers on Mackenzie Holt in a second in case you missed game number 1. If you were with us for game 1, well, you know that she's much better than her numbers show. She came in with an ERA of just shy of 6 in game 1, picked up her second win, her first collegiate complete game at the NCAA level. She spent her first 2 years at Gavilan College at JUCO out in California, where she's originally from. She'll face off against Kelly Danahy, moves one spot up in the lineup. Gigi Braga moves from 9 to 2. Roxanne Vento will stay in the 3-hole. Ari Bellata moves down from the leadoff spot. She'll be in the cleanup spot. Tori DeCenso moves from the 7 spot to the 5 spot. Taylor Paulina drops a spot from 5 to 6. Giovanna Bonilla moves up a spot from 8 to 7. Angelina Avatable, who did not play in game 1 as a starter, came on as a pinch hitter and struck out with the bases loaded in the 6th. Is in the 8-hole, and Alyssa Tully makes her return to the lineup. She had missed the past 5 games. Has played in, this will be her 6th appearance in 16 games. Missed the first 5 games of the year. Played the next 5 in Florida, and then missed each of the Beacons' first 5 games here in New England. Tully, a junior out of Lowell, Mass, will be in the DP spot. Was the Beacons' everyday third baseman a year ago, and is a bat the Beacons could desperately use right now with their offensive woes. Danahy, even the count at 1-1. Game number 1 working against the lefty Holt. Danahy went 0 for 4. That's going to drop her batting average below .405, which is where she started the day as the team leader. Popped up twice, lined out to the second baseman, and struck out swinging to end the game. Danahy a bunt, and it goes foul, 1-2. Danahy's high school teammate, Alexander Ruprecht is out in right field. Both of the players out of Silver Lake Regional High School, originally from Kingston, Mass. Hitting towards the top of the lineup for their respective sides. Danny hits it hard but foul. Nearly put that ball inside the first base bag. Could have had a chance for extra bases, but instead she'll step back into the batter's box. Not surprising with two Massachusetts State schools to see some former high school teammates, some former summer ball teammates. I know that Cassidy Gata, one of the Beacons, was coming over and chatting with one of the Bridgewater players. Didn't catch the number on that player, but Bridgewater with all but one player from the state of Massachusetts. Beacons have a little bit more diversity in terms of where they're recruiting from. As the Beacons have a couple players from Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York, New Jersey, and Texas. So about 2/3 of their rosters. Danny goes down swinging. The throw from Sinan, she floats it over there, but in time as Danny goes down swinging for the second time in a row. And it'll bring up Gigi Braga. Braga, the sophomore shortstop out of Medford, Mass.
The shortstop, number 3.
1 for 3 in game number 1. Slapped the ball right at the left fielder on the line. Had a bunt single but was caught stealing when she left early. And then grounded out to the shortstop on a tight play back in the 7th inning. First pitch is a little bit inside to Braga. She works against Holt, who is just simply phenomenal in game number 1. 1-0. Braga takes the rise ball high, 2-0. Look at the numbers on Holt coming in today, and it seems like a different pitcher. In 9 appearances, 6 starts, she was 1-5 with a 5.97 ERA. She did have 2 complete games, so I got that wrong. That was her 3rd complete game. It's probably her best. Bunt put down, third baseman Gavea is there, and a great throw, an absolute cannon of an arm from Gavea to get Braga. It's a good bunt, but not good enough. And there's 2 down here in the bottom of the first. Holt had allowed 58 hits, 37 runs, 31 earned in 36 1/3 innings. She allowed just 1 earned run and 5 hits in 7 innings against the Beacons. Roxanne Vento steps up, and she'll take a pitch off the front hip. So Vento is hit by a pitch for the 3rd time this season. And Vento, despite not doing a ton offensively today, doesn't have a big extra base hit or RBIs like we typically see from her. She's 2 for 3 on the day, a pair of singles, and has reached 3 out of 4 times. So that on-base percentage that started the day at .500 continues to tick upwards. Ari Bellata, the Beacons' cleanup hitter here in Game 2, steps up. Tied for the team high with 5 doubles. Hits one through the left side, and the Beacons have more success. It's over the glove of the left fielder, Banzi, and Vento's only going to make it as far as 3rd. She had stopped at second base, and then it just hopped over the glove of Banzi as the Beacons will both advance 1 run on the air on the Bears. 2 runners in scoring position for Tori DeCenso, who, for one reason or another, Mackenzie Holt has not been able to figure out. Holt has walked DeCenso 3 times today, including walking DeCenso with the bases loaded in Game 1 to score the only Beacons run. Big spot here for DeCenso, who's hitting the 5-hole. 1-0. Hit hard, but this one should be playable. Coming into center fielder is really deep. It's going to fall. 2 runs will score, and Tori DeCenso gives the Beacons a 1-0 lead. It was a pop-up, but it was hit into the Bermuda Triangle in right center, and the center fielder Carvalho was playing so deep, she wasn't able to get there. So the Beacons, with 3 straight base runners with 2 outs, and the Beacons have more runs here in the bottom of the 1st inning than they scored all of Game 1 against Mackenzie Holt. Brings up Taylor Paulina with a runner on 1st and 2 down. Takes a breaking ball on the outside corner for strike 1. Paulina snapped an 0 for 16 streak in Game 1. She should have been 2 for 3, but close call at second base ended up being a fielder's choice instead of an outfield single. Pops this one up foul, and she's behind the count 0-2. Paulina officially in that first game went 1 for 3. reached base twice and was stranded at third base twice. Not something the Beacons will be happy with, but that wasn't her fault. Already leading 2-0. Swings at a pitch that was out of the zone, but gets a piece of it. Stays at 0-2. Paulina to be followed by Benin. If it gets there, Angelina Avatable. The Beacons have their first lead of the day. In fact, this is the Beacons' first lead at home this season when the game's still going on. Hits it hard out to right, but this is going to be playable for Ruprecht going back, and she can't make the play. DeCenso stopped at second when there was 2 outs, and that might cost the Beacons, but the relay throw gets over the head of the second baseman, and the Beacons catch a pair of breaks on that play. An RBI double from Paulina, and the base running, which was not good in game 1. Beacons are not shot in the foot by that, as UMass Boston had a couple of bad base running plays in game number 1, and they lead 3-0 here, matching the Bears' output from that first inning in game 1. Paulina picks up another double. Despite only having 9 hits now, she does have 3 doubles. Giovanna Bonilla steps up and swings through the first pitch. 0-1. Bonilla in game number 1 put down a sac bunt and struck out before being lifted for a pinch hitter. Bonilla puts down a good bunt. Simon picks it up. The throw is not in time. It's an infield single for Giovanna Bonilla, and the Beacons have had 5 consecutive runners reach base with 2 down. Now, the good news for Bridgewater State is they have 2 other pitchers, and I think that sooner rather than later we'll probably see the team's ace in terms of numbers, Caitlin Shaw, freshman out of Lakeville, who has been pitching a lot this year. In fact, she's appeared in each of the team's past 4 games. Had a 2.75 ERA in 23rd innings in those 4 games, but we've yet to see the freshman Shaw today, as Holt pitched so well. But all of a sudden, with 2 downs, the Beacons have got hit by pitch, single, an error to move both runners up, a bloop 2-run single, an RBI double over the head of the right fielder who awkwardly tried to make the play, and then a bunt single. Avatable, who struck out as a pinch runner, and now Bonilla's going to take second, and she's in a rundown. Now the runner takes off for second. The throw to the catcher is going to be bobbled, and the Beacons will end up with runners at second and third. A nice job by Bonilla extending that pickle for long enough. And UMass Boston has 2 runners in scoring position on the stolen base. So they're going to give Bonilla credit for the stolen base. Paulina's over at third, Bonilla at second. If Avatable can get a hit here, the Beacons could make this a 5-0 lead. 1-1 on the outside corner, 1-2. Beacons baseball team just blew it open down in Mansfield. After going up 5-1, Eastern Connecticut State came back to make it a 5-4 game, but UMass Boston's responded with 4 runs in the top of the 7th. 9-4 lead in their Little East Conference opener down at Eastern Connecticut State. That's game 1 of 2. We'll bring you updates from all of the Beacons' other contests, as the lacrosse team's in action right now, as is the men's tennis team, all in their LEC openers. 1-2, just off the corner. Avatable has a little bit of an edge as the Beacons catcher. She's already sort of recognized where Arnie Walken's strike zone probably is. And it's 2-2 here with 2 runners on and 3 runs already in. Count actually is 3-2. Had a little bit of confusion. If Avatable able to reach, Alyssa Tully, the Beacons 9-0 hitter, awaits. Out ahead of that one, but fouls it off. Beacons did not lead at all against Babson in road games that were at home on Wednesday, and then did not lead at all against Castleton until walk-off hits. So this is the Beacons' first lead in 5 games here in New England. Positive sign for UMass Boston. Avatable chases up another one and nearly catches an unsuspecting pedestrian. 3-2, 2 downs, 2 runners on, 3 runs already in on RBI hits from Torrey DeCenso and Taylor Paulino. The 3-2 offering from Holt is high. And Avatable asks and is now told she can take her base. So the Beacons have sent all 9 batters to the plate here in the first, thanks to, with 2 outs, a hit by pitch, a single, a double, a bunt single, and a walk. Alyssa Tully, her first at bat of her junior season here at home, hits it right at the third. Shortstop Mulcahy will go the short way to third, and the Beacons are retired on the fielder's choice, but not before they strike for 3 2-out runs. And it's a rarity, but the Beacons have a lead here in 2018. Rebecca Ushman steps up for the first time today. Designated player did not play in game number 1. She's in the 5-hole here in game number 2. And takes a breaking ball low and inside for ball 1. Rebecca, a junior out of Feeding Hills, Massachusetts, attended Agawam High School. If I'm remembering right, I think Feeding Hills is the hometown of former Beacon soccer great Kara Peters, a midfielder who graduated a couple seasons ago. Quickly 2-0 to the designated player here to start the second inning. Ushman in her first 2 seasons appeared in just 9 games, making 2 starts as she swings and misses the breaking ball. Went 3 for 10 in those 9 appearances with 4 runs and 3 RBI. This season, she's making her 10th appearance already, including 6 starts. She's 4 for 19 on the year, hitting .211 with a run, 2 RBI, and 3 doubles. Heading the count at 3-1. She's already walked twice this year versus 3 strikeouts. Yesterday, she appeared in both games, including a start. Went 0 for 4 with an RBI, a walk, and a strikeout. The 3-1 offering from Hoban, and it's in on the hands. Vento has to charge, picks it up, bobbles, throws, and it's still in time. That was a very slow hit ball, and Vento struggled to pick it up, but Ushman does not run all that well, and the leadoff runner is retired for the second consecutive inning. Brings up Madison Synan, who was the 5-hole hitter in Game 1, moves down to the 6th spot here in Game 2. Synan singled in her first at-bat against Jess Greenspan before striking out swinging twice. Hits the ball deep to left, tailing foul, and it will be foul. That one had home run distance, just couldn't quite keep it fair, as it missed by, I don't know, foot and a half, maybe even 2 feet. It was close, but not one of those bang-bang calls where everybody's going to be asking to counsel with the other umpire. Nice job by Arnie Walken to get out from behind the plate and get even with the line. And it's strike three looking. So Sinan belts the ball over the outfield fence foul and then takes a pitch. The second strikeout of the game already for Holben, who is only allowed a bunt single thus far. Brings up Megan Navarro, second baseman out of Taunton, Mass. Navarro went 0 for 3 in game one. Struck out her first 2 at-bats before popping out on a really nice play by the second baseman, Danahy. Running play with her back to home plate, able to make a play in the 6th inning. The Beacons had a pair of great plays by their middle infield. Navarro swings and misses, and it's 1-1 with 2 down. As Holben is pitched well to start the second inning after the team gave her a 3-run cushion in the bottom of the first. Takes a pitch on the outside corner, 1-2. Holben is pounding the strike zone. The tough part here for Bridgewater State is you have a bit of a power pitcher in Greenspan, followed by Holben, who just it's breaking ball after breaking ball, all about location, and sometimes it takes a couple innings to catch up or slow down to Holben's velocity. And right now, Bridgewater State is being flummoxed a bit by the sophomore out of Bedford. 1-2 offering with 2 down. Ball is hit over to Bellotta on 2 bounces, throws across, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Meg Holben. Head to the bottom of the second will be the top of the order. The Beacons set 9 batters to the plate in the first. Before we get to the bottom of the second, we'll give you updates from around the rest of the Beaconville here on LEC opening day for every team but the softball team. Before we take a look at the Beacons order, let's look at the rest of the Beacons team. The baseball team exploded for 7 runs in the top of the 7th, which just ended as they lead 12-4 over the team picked 3rd in the LEC preseason poll. That's the first of 2 games. Fernando Burgos will go in game 2 for the Beacons. Men's tennis don't have a score update, but they're playing just about 300 yards away from us to our left. Lacrosse, after trailing through the first and second quarter, they lead 11-9 over Southern Maine to start the 4th. And the outdoor track and field team is competing their New England opener over at Tufts University just outside Boston in Medford. Kelly Danahy takes a first pitch, breaking ball on the outside half. Danahy struck out swinging. The second time today she struck out against Holt. Looking for her first hit of the day against the southpaw from California. Hits it softly back to Holt, who makes the backhand stab, and Danahy's now 0 for 6 on the day. She went 5 for 6 the other day against Babson. Went 5 for 6 rather against Castleton, and now 0 for 6 against Bridgewater. She continues to acclimate to the collegiate game. Brings up Gigi Braga, who grounded out to the third baseman. Nice play by Gavea to throw out the speedy Braga. 1-0 to Gigi, who has a bunt single to her name in 4 trips to the plate today. She'll be followed by Roxanne Vento, who started that 3-run rally in the first by being hit by a pitch. She came in to score on Tori DeCenso's 2-out RBI bloop single into the Bermuda Triangle in right, and then Taylor Paulina added an RBI double over the head of Ruprecht out there in right field as well. Second baseman way in. That's Navarro here against the slapper. Braga puts it down. Gavea is going to field again. The throw is going to be in time again, and Braga is out. And honestly, these have been two pretty good bunts from Braga, but even better plays by Gavea. She is attacking the ball, and she's got a really strong arm. And I think the umpire both times has made the right call. I mean, Braga's been close, but it's been half a step or more as Roxanne Vento steps up. Vento has not been retired in a while. Roxanne grounded back to the pitcher and hit it hard, hit Holt hard with a grounder, but Holt was able to make the play. Since then, single hit by pitch and a run scored. Count is 2-0. See what Vento can do. Came as the Beacons' second leading hitter, might be the Beacons' leading hitter with Danahy at 0 for 6. Hits it very softly, but fortunately for her, it catches her. Otherwise, that would have been an easy play for the Bears infield. 2-1 now to the reigning Little East Conference Player of the Year and a second-team All-Region player in New England. 2-1 offering, hit hard up the middle. Vento's got 3 hits. Has reached twice here in game number 2, and see if the Beacons can find some more 2-out magic. It'll be Bellotta to follow. She had a single through the left side and came in to score back in the first. So Vento has reached 4 consecutive times. Not too bad against Holt, who has not allowed that many base runners today before that first inning in which she allowed 6 consecutive runners to reach. Ball hit through the glove of Grindle and into the right field, and then it's kicked away by the right fielder, but no advancement from Vento. So Bellotta picks up a second consecutive hit after going 0 for 4 in game number 1. And UMass Boston has 2 on with 2 outs for Tori DeCenso for a second consecutive inning. The last time she blooped a single out into right to plate a pair. DeCenso had the game-winning RBI hit in game number 1 against Castleton on Thursday. Still doesn't have the power numbers that the Beacons coaching staff expects out of her. Takes that one outside, 2-0. This ball nearly gets away from Holt on the throwback from Sinan. DeCenso with those 3 RBI now has 5 on the season. She has not been retired today. Walked 3 times in game 1, 1 for 1 with a 2-run single here in game 2. And she's 1 pitch away from keeping that perfect on-base streak going. It's funny, she came in hitting .206, but her on-base percentage is going to see a serious boost today. She had walked just once. She's 1 ball away from walking for the 4th time today. Takes that pitch, and it's strike 1. Delayed call there from Marnie Walken on a breaking ball on the outside half. See if the Beacons give DeCenso a green light with 2 runners on and a 3-1 count. Beacons already lead 3-0. Holt winds her 3-1 low, and the Beacons have the bases loaded as Tori DeCenso has now walked 4 times today. Sure, she'd love to see a pitch to hit, but right now the Beacons are just happy to have the bases loaded. The second consecutive inning. That's the second walk from Holt here in game number 2. She had 4 in game 1. Came in with 33 walks in 36 innings. She's now had 6 walks on the day in 8 2/3, a much better ratio. Taylor Paulina, who doubled over the right fielder Ruprecht's head back in the first inning to score DeCenso, will step up. 0-1 with 2 outs. Flares it out, fouled on the right field line. It'll get out of play, 0-2. Paulina with the single and double on the day. She is 2 for 4. Should have had a third hit as she's found the outfield grass on 3 occasions. 3 ducks on the pond with 2 outs. The Beacons looking to really break this game open here in the second. 0-2 pitch, rise ball high. Vento's at third, Bellata at second. DeCenso at first. Not tremendous speed on the base pass. 1-2 now. 1-2 offering from Holt. Another rise ball, and Paulina wisely holds off. Paulina hit 3-run homer and 3 doubles a year ago against Bridgewater State. A 6 RBI day and a doubleheader sweep. She's already got 1 double today. An extra base hit here could really blow this game open. 2-2 pitch outside. Nowhere to put her as the count runs full. Giovanna Bonilla in the on-deck circle, hoping she gets a chance here in the second. Bonilla had a bunt single back in the first. 3-2 with 2 downs. Hits it a mile, but well foul. Ball caught the end of the Edward T. Barry ice rink down the left field line. Might not have gotten out if it was fair, but it was hit extremely hard, and now she'll step back in. See what Mackenzie Holt elects to throw right now. 3-2 offering, hit hard out to right center. Going over is Carvalho, not going to get there. 1 run will score, 2 runs will score. DeCenso's rounding third. It's going to be a 3-run double, and the Beacons lead 6-0 with 6 runs with 2 outs here in the first 2 innings. Taylor Paulina with back-to-back doubles, 4 RBI in Game 2, and after going through an 0 for 16 stretch at the plate, she's got 3 hits and 4 ribbies on the day. Huge hit from the Beacons junior center fielder. And after not being able to hit with runners in scoring position in game number 1, the Beacons have really done a nice job of putting runners on with 2 outs and then scoring with 2 outs. As both of these innings, Holt has gotten the first 2 batters, but has allowed at least the next 4 batters to reach. In the last half inning, it's actually the next 6, as Bonilla tries to put the bunt down. Might have caught a piece of it, but Simon was able to make the catch nonetheless. 0-1 to Bonilla, who put down a bunt single and stole second before being stranded at second in the first. 0-1 with Paulina at second, bounces up there. Paulina bouncing off of second base, trying to give herself a chance to score on a ball that gets through the infield. The infield is in against the Beacons. Lefty slappers out there in left field here in game 2. 1-1, bounces it back to the stop on a foul ball, 1-2. One and two, 3 runs already in. The Beacons with 6 runs here in the first 2 frames. That's an offensive explosion for this team that has really struggled to score runs this season. 1-2 low. UMass Boston 6 runs are tied for their second most this season. Took them 7 innings to do that the other day against Castleton. They do have double-digit runs once this season. It came in their second day of the season. An 18-2 thrashing of Becker College, who was playing in their first game of the season, and it showed as Becker committed quite a few errors and walks. Bonilla thought she got caught by that pitch. Instead, they called it a strike. A little bit of a discussion, and that's going to end up being strike 3. So Holt gets out of it with the strikeout looking, her second of the game, but not before Taylor Paulina is able to drill a double into right center field. And it's 6-0 UMass Boston through 2. Top of the third inning, UMass Boston is struck for 3 runs in each of the first 2 innings. And Megan Holben, all she's got to do is throw strikes right now, as Bridgewater State scored 3 runs in the top of the first inning on a Shannon Grindle 3-run homer back in Game 1. They haven't scored since. In fact, since that home run, they've had just 3 hits against the combination of Greenspan and now Megan Holben. The wind, you can hear it in my mic right now, is picked up here at the UMB softball field. The good news is it's getting slightly warmer in the sun. Not that all of us are getting to sit out in the sun right now. It's supposed to be a high of 55. We've got a brief conversation. I think Natalia Ardagna is still a little bit upset by the last play of the bottom of the second, where the batter, Giovanna Bonilla, thought that it was a 2-1 count. It was, in fact, 2-2. It should have been strikeout 3 looking, but the conversation was more about whether Bonilla would have taken the pitch if she had thought that there were 2 strikes. And now Ardagna and Serrano, the base umpire, are going to have a brief chat about, can only speculate what. Let's take a brief look ahead right now while we've got a break in the action. UMass Boston will return home. Well, they'll stay home. Part of this long homestand, 12 consecutive games here in their home field. UMass Boston will host Salve Regina, a team they actually ended the Seahawks season on last season in the NCAA Regionals on a walk-off homer from Roxanne Vento. Thursday, they'll take on another NCAA tournament team in Framingham State. And then Saturday, they'll host Plymouth State in their LEC opener. We'll bring you a look around the rest of the conference. All the other conference teams in action today except for UMass Boston and Western Connecticut State. The Beacons were supposed to be at Western today, but the Colonials field unplayable, so that game was postponed, and the Beacons were able to reschedule today's games against Bridgewater State, as these 2 teams were originally supposed to play back in March. And when I say back in March, I mean a couple weeks ago. I forgot that today is the final day of the month of March, which is seeing all of the Beacons spring teams get underway. Courtney Gavea is behind the count 0-2. Third baseman, an 8-hole hitter. Hits it out to right center. This is going to be a long run, and a diving effort from Danahy gets through her. Almost made a highlight reel play. Instead, it's a leadoff single. And the first base runner for Bridgewater State here in game number 2 to lead off the third. Beacons were playing Gavea pretty deep, and Danahy couldn't quite make the catch. Carvalho will step up. In game number 1, she had a bunt single, struck out swinging, and worked a walk, reaching twice. Team's top hitter in terms of batting average this season. Casey, junior out of Fairhaven, Massachusetts, hit .457 coming in today with the .513 on base percentage. She's reached 2 times in 3 trips, so that'll be even higher. Very impressive for a 2-time MASCAC first-team player. 1-1. Avatable seems very focused on Gavea over at first base. Gavea on the season has stolen 1 base in 1 try. Haven't seen the Bears attempt a stolen base today. 1-1. Carvalho shows bunt, pulls it back, 2-1. Casey Carvalho is one of those players where even when she's told the sign for a sac bunt, she's thinking hit. Obviously, her first job is to put the bunt down, but with her speed, she's trying to beat it out 100 times out of 100. Flares that one out to left center, a perfectly slapped ball, and there's 2 runners on to start the third. Nice piece of hitting from the lefty slapper. 2 on with no outs for the leadoff hitter, Samantha Mulcahy. Mulcahy 0 for 4 on the day. She grounded out to the third baseman, Bellotta, to start this second game. Game number 1, struck out, popped up a bunt to the first baseman, popped up foul to the first baseman, and then put down a sacrifice bunt. She was showing bunt there, but puts it foul. Realistically, right now, if you're Bridgewater State, you want to extend this inning to the point that the Beacons have to face Shannon Grindle and actually have to pitch to her. Grindle is 3 batters away, and there's no outs. Pitch is well outside. Avatable, nice job sliding to her left to keep it in front. 1-1. Big spot right now for Megan Holben. You can afford to give up one run, maybe even two here, but you want to hold on to this big cushion leading 6-0 through 2 innings. Well outside, 2-1. Beacons lacrosse team trails by a goal with 3.5 to go up in Southern Maine in their LAC opener. They need a late comeback if they're going to extend that winning streak against the Huskies. Avatable frames another pitch outside, but misses. 3-1. You want Mulcahy to put the ball in play. Right now you want everyone to put the ball in play if you're Megan Holben. Just trust your defense. Mulcahy looks to reach for the first time today. 3-1 pitch. A little bit low and outside, and Holben has a lot back-to-back hits, and now a walk to load the bases for the 2-0 hitter, Mackenzie Holt, and pitcher. Talk about having a chance to help yourself.
The pitcher, number 7, Mackenzie Holt.
Holt singled and scored in her first at-bat of the day. Since then, she's flown out to center, grounded out to third, flown out to left. Realistically, the left fielder, Kira Pressmack, at that point was in shallow, really shallow left center. And then in game number 2, she put down a bunt single. So 2 hits in 5 trips to the plate. And she will take the first pitch on the inside half of the breaking ball, 0-1. Holt has not had a ton of success offensively this year. 8 hits in 31 trips. Doesn't have an extra base hit. 1 RBI to her name. 0-1. Low and outside, 1-1. The Beacons, not that they're thinking about going to the pen at this moment, but they do have Drew Washington available, who started 2 games in the Beacons' last 2 doubleheaders, and Greenspan is a pitcher who could easily come on in relief if needed. Holben has lost the strike zone at the worst possible time, 2-1. Big spot right now for the sophomore out of Bedford, Mass. The base is full of Bears with no outs, and the Beacons leading 6-0. Another ball that is well low, and it's 3-1. Got to find the strike zone right here if you're Holben, and we'll see Avatable come out to chat with Megan. So the rest of the Beacons infield will huddle up just behind the circle. Holtz will be followed by Ruprecht. And then if it gets there, Grindle. That's the player who hit the 3-run homer. Three-one pitch coming to Holt. Hits it out to left. That'll get down in front of Bonilla. And Bonilla will not get it in time. The Beacons looked like they had a chance at third base. Instead, it's an RBI single, the 3rd hit of the day for Mackenzie Holt, and first run scored by the Bears since the top of the 1st inning of Game 1. Just a single run, but if things snowball here, Bridgewater State could have a chance to get right back in this one. Brings up Ruprecht, who struck out swinging in the first. Alexander is yet to get a hit. She's 0 for 5. Did reach and score on an error back in the 1st inning when she came around on the Grindle home run. Grindle is looming in the on-deck circle. Unless the Beacons can turn a triple play right now, she'll get a chance with runners on. Pitch is high and outside, 2-0. The chances of a triple play in softball are infinitesimal. You don't see it very often in baseball, but I don't know if I've ever seen softball triple play. There'd have to be a lot of confusion. This ball is popped up on the infield. Should be an infield fly. It'll be caught by Ari Bellotta, and there's one down. But Grindle's going to step up to the plate, and this is the old Barry Bonds question. Do you intentionally walk Bonds here, or Grindle in this case, to give up a run but to avoid a potential grand slam that would make it a 6-5 game? I don't know what Natalia Ardagna would do. I would consider it, but I'm one of those annoying analytics people who a lot of baseball and softball traditionalists really don't like. Grindle is 1 for 2 on the day. She hit a line drive 3-run homer in game number 1, walked twice, and then flew out to right on a running play by Kelly Danahy. The 0-1 offering to Grindle is hit over the head of Braga. That'll get down, and it's going to score 2 runs. So Grindle keeps it in the park, but she's able to drive in 2 more. She's got 5 RBI in the day, and all of a sudden the Beacons' 6-run lead has been cut in half, and there's still only 1 out here in the 3rd. Wasn't hit all that hard, but Grindle able to use her power to flare it over the head of the Beacons' shortstop, Braga. Holt moves up to second base. She had an RBI single. Grindle's at first. She had a 2-run RBI single, and it brings up Rebecca Ushman. Ushman grounded out on a softly hit ball down the third base line. Holben trying to keep the lead at 3 as the Beacons have scored 3 runs in each of the first 2 innings. 0-1 to Ushman. Takes a low fastball that I don't blame Ushman for not being happy with. That one looked like it was at or below the ankles. Ushman on the year does have 2 RBI amongst her 4 hits. Pops it up, and it's going to be out of play. That is a high pop-up that will end up behind us here in the Beacons softball press tent. Two on, 1 out, 3 runs already in. We have seen more runs in the first 3 innings here than we saw in game number 1. 9 compared to just 4. Ushman hits it through the left side. Diving effort from Braga, but there's no one there. The long throw to first. Not in time. And the Beacons, a little bit of miscommunication there on the left side. UMass Boston playing a slightly different defensive lineup as that's going to go as an infield single. Already in the inning, Bridgewater State has 5 singles. They had just 1 through the first 2 innings. Tough part about that is if Ari Bellata and Gigi Braga are over there at shortstop and third base, they've been playing together all season. Maybe Bellata lets Braga get that, or maybe Bellata makes the play. With Vento diving, even if when Braga was able to get the ball, she didn't have a play except to try to get Ushman at first base, who was able to get in there in time. And we're going to see a pinch runner for Ushman over there at first base. Well, I don't really know what the holdup is. It's going to be Julianne Coleman, a local product. Coleman out of Roslindale, Mass., one of the more immediate Boston suburbs. Attended Boston Latin High School. As a junior, she's appeared in 10 games, making just 1 start. 0 for 4 with 3 runs. Does have a stolen base, making her first appearance since Tuesday. Brings up Madison Sinan, who struck out looking in the 2nd inning. Big spot for Sinan with 3 runners on and just the 1 out. Bears haven't hit the ball all that hard against Holben here in the 3rd, but they've already scored 3 runs and had the bases loaded thanks to 5 singles and a walk. Signing behind 0-2, takes a pitch on the inside, half right at the knees. And Holben 1 strike away from what would be a huge 2nd out. Oh, 2 pitch, flared over to the third baseman. Vento bobbles it, will go home, and the Beacons get the lead runner. As the runner slides into Avatable, he was taking a step towards her. Nothing intentional there on either side. And Holt, the pitcher, is retired on the fielder's choice. Grindle moves up to third base. Ushman's pinch runner, Julianne Coleman, is at second. And Sinan reaches on the fielder's choice. She's at first. Brings up Megan Navarro, the 9th hitter to hit in this inning. Hits one over to second. Bellata gobbles it up and throws it as Bellata got run over there by Sinan, but essentially able to make the play, and I think there might have been a fielder's interference otherwise. Either way, the Bears score 3 but leave the bases loaded. We've seen quite a lot of that today. I think these 2 teams have combined to leave the bases loaded 4, maybe 5 times. Head to the bottom of the 3rd. See if the Beacons can get those runs back as they lead 6-3 through 2.5. We've got a new pitcher for the Bears to start the third inning. It's Daenerys Underhill, the sophomore pitcher out of Rochester, Mass. Old Rochester Regional High School product. Stands at 5'3". She's the team's third pitcher who was originally slated to start game number 1, but instead was moved into the defensive player position, never saw the field. Underhill on the year, not great numbers. 0-2 in 7 appearances, including 2 starts. An 8.17 ERA. Does have the team's lone save. 12 innings pitched, 28 hits, 16 runs, 14 earned. 5 strikeouts versus 2 walks. Allowed 4 doubles. Opponents hitting .475 against her. She's also issued 6 wild pitches, so maybe a little bit wild in her pitching. She will go into the 2-hole, so she might also hit as well. We'll find out later on as Underhill is in for Holt, who got the win in Game 1 by allowing just 5 hits and 1 run. Not nearly as successful here in Game 2, allowing 7 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned, 2 strikeouts, and 2 walks.
Angelina Avatable.
It'll be 8-9-1 for the Beacons to start the third. Avatable hits the ball high into left, going back on it, and it is just shy of the wall. Avatable stopped at first base, and she's still going to have a double, as Ange might have stopped to see if that was getting over the fence. Believe that is the first extra base hit of Avatable's career, and it is just her 3rd career hit, and she nearly put it out. Just barely over the head of Bonzi, who was running as hard as she could back to the wall, and that one bounced just shy of the wall.
Number 14, Alyssa Tully.
That is the Beacons' 3rd double of this game. This ball's hit softly over the third baseman, and Alyssa Tully is retired on 1 pitch. Avatable forced to dive back into second, and there's 1 down. So Alyssa Tully is 0 for 2, a pair of groundouts on the left side, and it'll bring up the Beacons' leadoff hitter for the 3rd time in 3 innings. Kelly Danahy is 0 for 2, still looking for that first hit of the day. She's only faced lefties today, and she's still 0 for a hard line drive right at the shortstop. Danahy's hit at least 2 really hard line drives, but right at fielders. Easily could have a couple hits. Brings up Gigi Braga, who's also 0 for 2, a pair of bunt groundouts in which Courtney Gouveia has made great plays to field and throw out the lefty slapper. Underhill able to catch the inside corner 0-1. Problem is, at least for the Bears thus far, they've been able to retire the first 2 batters in the Beacons order and the 9-hole hitter. Everyone in between has been a huge issue. The Beacons' 3, 4, 5, 6 hitters have all reached. As Braga better bunt, Sinan's throw is not in time, and she's going to be called out. That one I don't agree with. Braga's been thrown out a couple times today, but that one was very close, and I believe her foot was on the bag. Either way,
In the bottom of the third inning,
she's retired for a third time.
there were no runs. There were
And we head to the fourth. UMass Boston holds on to a 3-run lead.
the top of the fourth inning for Bridgewater State. Gavea, Carvalho.
Bridgewater State scored 3 runs in the top of the first inning. They didn't score of game one. They did not score a run again until the top of the third inning. Able to bat around in that third inning. And it'll be 8-9-1 for the second consecutive inning. Courtney Gavea singled out to right on a diving effort from Danahy where she just couldn't hold on to the ball. Gavea to be followed by Carvalho and then the top of the order. Both of these players singled and scored as part of a 3-run third. Hits it hard, but this one will stay on the ground, and Bellata will just shovel it over to DeCenso. A pitch in football, and there's one out. Casey Carvalho's been a tough out today for the Beacons. Game number 1, reached twice on a single and a walk, struck out. She is reached in her only at-bat of game 2, a single on a slap to left center. First pitch to her, taking all the way, and it's a low breaking ball on the outside half. Hoban has been down in the zone throughout. That's been her saving grace. She's given up 6 hits, but none of them for extra bases. 0-1, chipped over the head of Braga, who made a great effort, but Gigi's a little bit shorter than some other players on the diamond and unable to get quite high enough.
Shortstop, number 28.
Carvalho, her second consecutive slap hit to the outfield, and she's over there at first base with one out for Samantha Mulcahy, who reached for the first time today with a walk back in the third and came in to score. Game number 2, she grounded out to the third baseman and walked and scored. It's interesting. Carvalho's the team's top hitter, hitting over 400, but she hits out of the 9-hole. Mulcahy's one of the team's top hitters. Doesn't seem to be quite as speedy. Mulcahy hitting 380, almost 80 points below Carvalho, who hits 8 spots behind her in the lineup. Mulcahy's showing butt, and we'll put it down foul. 0-2. Haven't seen a lot of small ball out of the Bears today. One out in the top of the fourth inning. Bridgewater scored 3 in the third to cut the deficit to 6-3 after the Beacon scored 3 in the first and second. Hits off in the left side. Vento a long run, doesn't have a play, and there's 2 on. Vento made the right play, but just had no chance. It was a long run for Vento, and there's 2 on with 1 out for Mackenzie Holt's replacement, Danara Underhill. So they pulled Holt to start the third, and now her replacement in the circle is going to have to hit for herself. Danara Underhill on the season has had just 2 at-bats. She's 0 for 2 with the run scored. Struck out once and walked once. Big spot for the Rochester, Mass native. Taking, and it's 1-1. 2 runners on for the 2 spot. Ruprecht follows in the 3-hole, and then Shannon Grindle looms. She's got 5 RBI on 2 hits today. She's been retired just 1 time. Rise ball 2-1. This is the spot where you want Holben to really go after the batter, especially Underhill. Doesn't have an at-bat today, just 2 at-bats on the season. See what she's made of. Don't give her something great to hit, but can't afford a walk right now. And she catches the inside half as the wind is really picking up right now. You can hear it. And, well, we can feel it. It's blowing over papers, and certainly it's not going to make it easy for Underhill. The wind is blowing right in her face. 2-2, flared towards the Beacons dugout, right into the netting. Do it again. Two and 2, 1 out, 6-3 Beacons lead with 2 runners on. It's just a little bit low. Full count, and now the question is, do you send the base runners? Carvalho's got great speed at second base. Mulcahy, the leadoff hitter. This could be a situation where if you send the base runners, you could score both with the hit to the outfield. 3-2 pitch with 1 out. Flared over to the second baseman. Bellata's only play is to first. Almost went to second. Unfortunately, she didn't. She probably wouldn't have gotten the play. Makes the safe play. And there's now 2 runners in scoring position with 2 outs for Alexander Ruprecht. Huge spot for Ruprecht. Her job is to move the order around, get on any way she can here ahead of Grindle. She can reach. It'll either be a 6-3 game with the bases loaded or a potential 6-4, 6-5 game. First pitch to Ruprecht is low. Ruprecht has not had a hit today against Holben. Struck out swinging in the first, popped up to second in the third. Ruprecht, yet to get a hit today, is 0 for 6 with the run scored. Big spot for the Kingston native, and it's now 2-0. In fact, we've mentioned a couple times, the 2 Silver Lake Regional High School products, between them, don't have a hit. Pretty ironic considering how strong both of these players have been. 2-0 pitch hit out to right. Is this going to stay fair? Ruprecht hitting it over to Danahy, who makes the play in foul territory. That's got to feel good for Danahy, who's been robbed a couple times herself. And a big third out here in the 4th to strand a pair of base runners.
2 hits, no Beacons errors, and 2 runners left on base. Coming up for the Beacons.
Three, 4, 5 for UMass Boston here in the 4th. Great breaking ball from Underhill. Catches the inside half, 0-1. Vento was very difficult for Mackenzie Holt to retire. She has 3 singles, a hit by pitch, and was retired once today, and it's hit right at the second baseman, Navarro. So Underhill's had a little bit more success as Vento is retired for the second time today. Hit hard, but right at Navarro at second base.
Second baseman number 13, Ari Bellata.
Brings up Ari Bellata, the cleanup hitter, who flares one into shallow right center. Long run, and making the play is Ruprecht for a second consecutive out. Underhill has pitched well since coming on. She let up a leadoff double to Angelina Avatable that looked like it had a chance to go, but since then has retired 5 consecutive batters.
First base number 21, Tori DeCenso.
Compared to Holt, who had allowed 7 hits and 6 earned runs in 2 innings. She's keeping her team in this game right now. So they try to make a comeback against Megan Holman and the Beacons pitching staff. Bridgewater State took the first game 3-1, a 3-run top of the first thanks to a Grindle 3-run homer, and then held on as the Beacons were able to put a lot of base runners on late in the game, but unable to scratch across more than 1 run against Mackenzie Holt. Had better success here in game number 2. We'll have a look around the rest of the conference for you after this half inning as Tori DeCenso is way out in front there. Senso thus far, she walked 3 times in game 1, has not been retired in game 2. A 2-run single and a run scored in the first, and a walk and a run scored in the second. Very good day for her on base percentage. Swings through that one, and it's 0-2. Underhill is providing kind of the same effect that Hoban does after Greenspan. It's a slower pitch or a different look, and the Beacons are struggling to adjust. Senso gonna come up with a hit here. The Beacons have had so much success with 2 outs. In the first and second inning, the Beacons had their first 2 batters retired before they were able to string together enough hits and walks to score 3 runs in each inning. Had a base runner in every inning. DeCenso hits it hard past the third baseman, and she's thinking extra bases. Tori DeCenso has not been retired today, and she's into second base with their first collegiate extra base hit. Already here in game number 2, the Beacons have 4 doubles, including 1 in every inning. See if the Beacons can continue their 2-out magic. This has been the player who's had the biggest effect in game 2.
The center fielder number 15,
Taylor Paulina has 2 doubles and 4 RBI. She had a 3-run double in the second, an RBI double in the first. Remember, last year Paulina went 4 for 8 against the Bears with 6 RBI, including 3 doubles and a homer. She's got a chance for a 5th RBI in 3 at-bats. So she flares that one up the middle, not hit very hard, and it's going to get by Navarro, and DeCenso's now going to take off, and there's going to be a play at the plate. She's safe. Paulina takes off her second on the throw, and Taylor Paulina now has 3 consecutive hits, 5 RBI on the day, and UMass Boston stretches their lead to 7-1. That one wasn't hit that hard, but because it got by the running Navarro, it ended up in shallow center, and despite the fact that DeCenso elected to pause at third base, she still had time to make it home. Brings up Giovanna Bonilla.
left field number 5.
Bonilla is 1 for 2 in game 2. Bunt single and a stolen base in the first. Struck out looking to end the second. 0-1 offering. Chops it back towards the pitcher. Underhill scoops, throws high, but Grindle is able to make the play. So the Beacons are able to tack on another run. The lead is 7-3 through 4.
4th inning.
See if UMass Boston elects to stay with Holman or if they're going to bring out Drew Washington or Jess Greenspan to start inning number 5.
In the top of the 5th inning.
While we've got a sec, let's take a look at all the other teams in the Little East Conference, with the exception of Western Connecticut State, who UMass Boston was originally supposed to play, UMass Dartmouth has had the best season to date of any LEC team, and they keep that up. Take on a Keene State team that is traditionally one of the top teams in the conference. Keene was actually picked to finish 7th, as they're down a little bit. And UMass Dartmouth, the team that was picked, one of 3 teams picked to finish in a tie for 4th, earns a 5-1 game victory at home. Plymouth State and Rhode Island College. Plymouth State picked 3rd, Rhode Island College picked 8th. Game 1's over, but they failed to give us a score, so we'll have to let you know after the game. Southern Maine, a 7-2 lead in the 7th on the road against Eastern. Those 2 teams picked in that 3-way logjam in the middle for 4th, so that's a little bit of an interesting score. Eastern Connecticut State, traditionally a power under Diana Pepin, but Southern Maine has been a really strong program the last couple of seasons under Sarah Jamo. And wouldn't be surprised to see a split between those 2 sides, or even a Southern Maine sweep. Big question for Eastern is the pitching, as they are off to a really rough start, as our UMass Boston, a team that won the conference tournament a year ago. Western Connecticut State, before a sweep of SUNY Purchase the other day, was 1-13. They sit at 3-13 overall. The Beacons are at 4-11 after their first loss to Bridgewater. You look at the LEC on the baseball side, everyone's at least a couple games over 500. On the softball side, with the exception of UMass Dartmouth and Plymouth State, everyone's at 500 or below. Grindle flares it out to right. Remember, she was left in the on-base circle back in the last frame after Bridgewater State had brought the tying run to the plate. Alexander Ruprecht fouled out down the right field line, and Kelly Danahy made a really nice running play to end the inning. Beacons tacked on an insurance run, so it's now a 4-run lead. Bellata makes a nice job of just getting her entire body in front of that one and retires Grindle 4-3, just the second time that Grindle has been retired. She's got 5 RBI today, including at least 2 in each game. On the other side, Taylor Paulina has been the offensive hero here in game number 2. Paulina has 5 RBI, including an RBI on all 3 of her at-bats here in game 2. Paulina, who was in the midst of an 0-for-16 streak, has 4 hits, should have 5 on the day, and 6 total appearances. That just goes to show, whenever Taylor Paulina plays Bridgewater State, good things seem to happen. Just off the outside corner. Oh, they're going to actually say that one caught the corner. 0-2 to Rebecca Ushman, who singled in her last at-bat and then was pinch ran for. Just 1 for 2 on the day. A single to the shortstop and a ground out to the third baseman. Pops it up on the infield. This is playable for Vento. Actually, Avatable, and she can't quite get there. So used to seeing Vento behind the plate. Avatable here in game 2 and just out of her reach. So that one was inches away from the home on deck circle. Holman will have to reset with 2 strikes on the batter. Megan has struck out 2 thus far, issued just the 1 free pass. 0-2, flared out to left center. Coming in is Bonilla, doesn't have a chance. Beacons were playing really deep on Ushman, and Ushman got new life thanks to the pop-up that just fell in front of Avatable and DeCenso. And she's now 2 for 3 with a pair of singles. Bridgewater State has put a base runner on in every inning but the second, but their only runs came in the third when they batted around. Brings up Madison Sinan, 0 for 2. Struck out looking and reached on a fielder's choice when the Beacons got the lead runner. This is not going to be a fielder's choice. Hit deep out to left center, but Paulina ranges and makes the play. A loud second out off the bat of Sinan.
Second baseman number 14, Megan Navarro.
Bring up Megan Navarro, who has had a pretty easy day to score thus far in game number 2. Grounded out to the second baseman twice to end the inning. Once in the second, once in the third. Navarro takes a fastball on the outside corner, 0-1. Megan is yet to reach today. Struck out twice and popped up to the second baseman in game 1. So she's had 5 at-bats, and it's either ended in the catcher's glove or the second baseman's glove every time. 0-1. That'll catch the top of the backstop on the foul, and it's 0-2. Remember, UMass Boston back at home on Tuesday for 2 against Salve Regina. on Thursday for 2 against Framingham State, and then they'll open conference play against Plymouth State. Still don't have a rescheduled date for the Beacons doubleheader against Western Connecticut State. Ball flared out to right. Danahy on the run, and she'll make the play in foul territory. So for the second consecutive inning, Kelly Danahy is forced to make a running play in foul territory. And that'll do it for the Bears in the 5th. UMass Boston already leads 7-3. If the Beacons can come up with 4 more runs, they could end this game in a jiff. We'll find out if UMass Boston has more runs left in them after this. (8-9-1) for UMass Boston in the 5th. Avatable, who had her first collegiate extra base hit in her last at bat, a double over the head of the left fielder. Hits one out to left center, but this one's an easier play, and it's actually caught in dead center by Carvalho. But back-to-back strong swings there from Avatable, who's making her 4th start of the season. I'm going to bring up Alyssa Tully, looking for her first hit here in New England, making her first start and first appearance after missing the last 5. Tully in the DP spot.
The designated player, number 14, Alyssa Tully.
Tully has hit into a fielder's choice to the shortstop and grounded out to the third baseman. Hits it over to the shortstop again. Throw from Mulcahy in there in plenty of time. And Alyssa Tully, still shaking off a little bit of the rust, is 0 for 3. So any hopes of a Mercy Rule shortened game, if you're a Beacons fan, or just a fan of enjoying the rest of your Saturday doing something other than watching these great softball games, will rest on the Beacons doing some more 2-out damage. It's where they've done the majority of their damage in game number 2, and just overall, all of the Beacons runs, all 7 of them here in game 2, and the Beacons' lone run in game number 1 have come with 2 outs. Danahy hits it hard past the drawn-in the second baseman Navarro, and Kelly Danahy has her first hit of the day. Good to see for the freshman second baseman / right fielder. And the Beacons continue to have great success with 2 outs. UMass Boston has 1 hit with no outs and no hits with 1 out, but the Beacons
Shortstop, number 3, Gigi Braga.
have 8 hits, now 9 hits with 2 outs. Don't know how that works. Danahy takes off the throw. It's a good one, and Danahy is caught stealing. Mulcahy comes across, Simon throws her out, and the Beacons will have to wait to the 6th to see Gigi Braga step back up to the plate. Bridgewater State down to their final 6 outs here against Megan Holman. Beacon's pitching staff has pitched pretty well today with the exception of 2 innings. They gave up 3 runs in the top of the first, 2 of them earned of game 1, and then 3 runs in the top of the third on 5 hits. With the exception of those 2 innings, the Bears offense has been pretty quiet. As ball's flared out to left center. A diving effort from Bonilla goes off of her glove, and that's going to allow the runner to reach second base. It's going to be a hit either way. Courtney de Govea is on to second base. Going to be a straight double for Courtney Govea, who has 2 hits and 3 at-bats out of the 8-hole. And the Beacons will check on Bonilla real quick, and she appears to be okay. It was a really great effort just off the end of her glove, but because it went off the end of her glove, it bounced away from Taylor Paulina, who was coming to back up Bonilla, and ended up in right center, allowing the runner to advance to second. Casey Carvalho's been a tough out all day, but especially here in game 2. 2 for 2 with a pair of slap singles to the outfield. Slap single right here could score a run. Beacons lead by 4 in the 6th. Rise ball high. 2-0. I can't see the Beacons bullpen because the Beacons brick dugout is literally right in front of us. But you'd have to expect that Drew Washington or Jess Greenspan is probably warming up, whether to just get a little bit of work or to be ready. Washington had pitched in each of the Beacons' past 2 doubleheaders and has pitched pretty well. 2-1 here to Carvalho is on the inside corner. 2-2, a delayed call from Walken. See what Carvalho can do. 2-time all-conference first-team player, just a junior this season. Has 3 singles, a strikeout, make it 2 strikeouts and a walk on the day as she takes that one looking for the first out of the inning. So 1 out, runner on second for Samantha Mulcahy. Mulcahy did not reach in game 1, 0 for 3. Grounded out to the third baseman in the first, but since then has walked and scored and singled. Vento fields, throws it across. Bellotta gets the foot on the base. And after a little bit of a conversation, they called her out. Now the question is, base umpire actually called her safe. It looked to be very close. Either way, it's going to be a bunt single. It's difficult to hear audible calls here in the broadcast booth because these headphones that are keeping my ears warm also make it really difficult to hear anything further than about 2 to 3 feet away. Runners at the corners after the hit. Govea at third. Mulcahy at first for Underhill, the pitcher. Bellotta bobbles it as the runner went in front and takes off to first. That will drive in a run on the RBI ground out 4-3. Ari Bellotta has seen a ton of balls over at second base. Bellotta seems to be in a little bit of pain right now. Mulcahy ran right in front of her, and that's what caused her to bobble the ball a bit. And now with the Beacons leading 7-4, they'll try to get Ruprecht again to end the inning. Did that the last time she was up. Flies it out to right. This should be an easier play for Danahy. And again, UMass Boston's pitching doing a great job of ending innings or at least retiring the batters before Grindle as they give up just the 1 run, and it's a 3-run Beacons lead through 5.5.
Coming up for the Beacons in the bottom.
Gigi Braga, who ended the 5th inning at the plate after Kelly Danahy was thrown out, will step up. She is 0 for 3 with 3 bunts to the third baseman, who has gotten her by about a foot and a half, a foot, and maybe half a foot on the 3 combined throws. That third play, I think Braga was actually safe, but she was called out by Ray Serrano. Braga to be followed by Vento and Bellata. 2, 3, 4 for the Beacons, and she's slapping, hit right at the shortstop. Mulcahy, who makes a nice play. It's what UMass Boston wants Braga to do, but she's hit the ball right at the defense when she slapped today. And quick first out for Daenerys Underhill, who's pitched well in relief, allowing just the 1 run back in the 4th inning. This is her 4th inning of work as she'll face off against Roxanne Vento for a second time. Vento hits it right at the second baseman Navarro for a second consecutive at bat. And it'll bring up Ari Bellata. Beacons' first pitch swinging to little success. Ari Bellata was 2 for 2 in her first 2 at-bats with a pair of runs scored, but flew out to right against Underhill back in the 4th. The reliever Underhill has had tremendous success, even has a little success offensively, drove in a run in the top of the 6th with the ground out to second. For the Bears in the 7th, trailing 7-4, they will start the inning with Grindle, Ushman, and Sinan, 4, 5, 6. Bellata chops it off herself. That might lead to a bruise tomorrow. 1-1, UMass Boston looking to move to 3-1 on the season at home and 5-11 overall. The Bears looking for a comeback. They're within a game of 500, trying to get back to 500. Easy play for Mulcahy, throws, and the Beacons are retired on 3 straight groundouts. Head to the 7th, last chance for the Bears. They trail by 3 here at the UMB softball field. Megan Holman looking for her 3rd complete game of the season and 3rd victory. She'd have 3 of the Beacons' 5 wins. Holman pitched pretty well today, allowing 4 runs. She's been hittable, allowing a hit in all but the 2nd inning. In fact, Bridgewater State has posted 11 hits through 6 innings, but the Bears have been struggling to drive those runners in. They've left 8 runners on, and they'll need at least 3 here in the 7th to send the game to the bottom of the 7th. They trail 7-4. Shannon Grindle, Rebecca Ushman, and Madison Sinan, 4, 5, 6 in the order. Grindle has provided the 2 biggest hits of the day for the Bears. 3-run homer that proved to be the game-winning hit in Game 1. And then a 2-run RBI single in the 3rd inning that got them back within 6-3. Hits it hard, but a diving effort from Bellata. What a play from Ari Bellata over there at second base. She's played at 3rd, short, and 2nd throughout her career, even a little bit of right. And Bellata made one of the best defensive plays of her career right there to Rob Grindle, who even when she is retired, hits the ball incredibly hard. She's been retired just 3 times today, and 2 of them have been lineouts. So now 1 down for Rebecca Ushman. Ushman grounded out to 3rd and now is 2 for 3 after back-to-back singles. In the DP spot for game number 1 after not playing for game number 2, didn't play in game number 1. Ushman has 3 consecutive hits. It one hops out into the glove of Giovanna Bonilla. And putting Ushman here in for game number 2 looks like a great move by head coach Lindsay Couturier, as the first-year head coach has found a DP, at least in this game, is 3 for 4. Bring up Madison Synan, still looking for that first hit of game 2. Was struck out looking, hit into a fielder's choice, and flew out to center on a hard hit ball. Synan fouls one off. 0-1. Synan has caught every inning today. She has 1 hit and 3 strikeouts. That hit came back in her first bat of the day, a single to right in the top of the first inning of game 1. Since then is 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts. Looks like we might get a pinch runner, and that would end the day for Ushman. It looks like the player coming on is Tabitha Domey, number 13. Some of these reserves, when you haven't seen their names in about 4 or 5 hours, a little difficult to remember the pronunciation. But it is Domey. She will pinch run over there at first base. The junior catcher out of Westboro, Mass, makes her first appearance of the day. Stands at 5'4". Domey making her 5th appearance, just her 2nd appearance off the bench. Has not played in the last 6, so good to get her in at least in a pinch running situation. Ushman's day is done as she has been subbed out twice. But realistically, the Bears are more worried about getting the 3 runs than whether or not they're going to need their DP later on in extra innings if it got there. The count is 0-2 to Synan after that rare mid-count substitution. 0-2, swung on and missed. Madison Synan has struck out 4 times today. And a big strikeout there for Megan Hoban, who now has 4 on the game. Megan Navarro is the last chance for the Bears. 0 for 3 in game 2. Pair of groundouts to second and a fly out to right. And how about this? The 7-hole hitter, unless she can get on here, will have finished off an inning in 4 of the 7 innings here in game 2. Not exactly a positive stat if you're Megan Navarro. 0-1 to her, foul back, and she's down to her final strike. Navarro does not have a hit today. She is 0 for 6 with a pair of strikeouts. Every time she's hit the ball, it's been on the right side. 2 groundouts to second, a pop-up to second, and a fly out to right. 0-2 with the runner on first, trailing by 3 here in the 7th. 0-2, hit hard out to right center. Paulina going back towards the wall, and she can't make the play. Up against the wall. Tabitha Domey will hold it third, and there's 2 on, and the game-tying run steps up to the plate. So Megan Navarro extends the game, gets that first hit in a big way. And there's 2 runners in scoring position here for Courtney Gouveia, who's been a tough out here for Megan Hoban. A little bit of drama potentially brewing at the UMB softball field. Domey had a, well, I don't know why she was holding up. She should have been able to score there with 2 outs, but held up nonetheless. And it'll bring up Gouveia, who has a single, a double, and a pair of runs scored. 2 for 3 in game 2 against Hoban. Had a really strong approach out of the 8-hole. She's also played some really good defense over at third base. Gouveia singled to right, doubled to left center, and grounded out to second against Hoban. 0-1 with 2 down. Pops up a pitch, Avatable in foul territory, and makes the play. A huge final out as the Beacons avoid any potential drama. So UMass Boston drops game 1 3-1 and earns a 7-4 game 2 victory to split with the Bears. Beacons improved to 10-8 all-time against Bridgewater State and 5-11 on the season. Bridgewater State 7-9 on the campaign. The Bears will return to action, they hope, on Thursday. Bridgewater State trying to get their first official home games in They host UMass Dartmouth on Thursday at 3 p.m. In fact, Bridgewater State is actually scheduled to play 7 straight home games starting on Thursday. Hopefully their field will be playable by that point. UMass Boston in the midst of a 12-game homestand, back in action this upcoming week, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Can't make it out to the UMB softball field. We'll have all the games for you on the Beacons Broadcast Network. Really quick before we close out, I'd like to give a shout out to our production crews. Doing a great job for today's contest. Cassie Murphy on camera, Rachel Maslak directing. My name is Seth Dorensky. Have a great day and have a great rest of your weekend, folks.